Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right, episode 32 of Shirt Show. We're talking with Gabe from MAYB TMRW in New York. Let's go! Shirt show!
Real talk, we have two new partners and they are both bomb, like so great. And like we said, we wanted to partner with somebody or some people that we use and that we authentically really like.
Right. And we really wanted to make sure that we were partnering up with them because we love them so much. We know they're going to do great for everybody. So we really wanted to make sure we talked about them as much as we could. So who do we got, Andy?
Well, the first one is that F guy, Frank, from Graphic Screen Fashion. And I think we came up with a new tagline for him. Didn't we?
What was that? Liked it, though.
How did it go? The best screen guy in the world. You know? So no charge, Frank. If you want to use it, go ahead. It's all yours. But
if you could etch it into every screen, that'd be great.
That's right. Well, but he deserves that. You know, if he doesn't go with that slogan, people will know him as that because he really does take care of us, and that's what's so important. Is not just, hey, I made a great screen, buy it and then fuck off, but it's actually I made a great screen. And do you want to talk about mesh? Do you want to talk about thin thread? You want to talk about you want to borrow my thickness gauge for 9 months? He'll do that. He'll do that for you, right?
Yeah. Well, the best part about Frank, like I said, is it's the same with a couple other companies that I work with where you call and you talk to the guy who fucking made the thing. You know what I mean? Who lives it. It's just like us. You know, we own our companies and we just want to talk shit. And Frank was all about talking shit. And he listens to this show. Like he's an avid listener of the show. Right. So he knew what we needed and what, you know, our issues were and everything. And he called me directly and was like, hey, I'm pretty sure I can help you out with your issues. Because earlier in the episodes, we were talking about what do I do and this and this. And, you know, he walked me through the whole thing, why you use this mesh or, you know, how can I help you with this? And we make our own frames and all this other stuff. So I would never go back now. Frank's definitely the F guy for me.
Right.
He's, you know, helped me out a ton. So,
and I think he could do the same for anyone else. And so anybody that's listening, I mean, Frank can do the same thing he did for us. He can do it for you. And so that's why he's a great partner. Yep. The other partner is EasyWay. And they have the same slogan, the best screen guy in the world.
It's the easiest way.
Easiest way. That's what it was. I got it wrong. No, but they do this. It's the same sort of company. Like they, you know, we use 3 chemicals here from them. We use a reclaim, we use an ink degradant and a press wash, and they work seamlessly most of the time. And then every once in a while we have an issue because maybe we do something different on our end, you know, and so what do? Well, we can call them up. In fact, I have Alex's personal cell phone, which I'm going to give everybody right now. Hold on. Stand by.
And his home address.
That's right. But really, I think he probably would give it out. Like that's the kind of
guy.
He
actually gave me his home address today. Like no lie, gave me his home address today because I wanted to send him a mug. And he was like, do you want my work address or home address? And he sent me that. So anybody who needs it or asks, send me a DM. I will send you Alex's home address and phone number and what time he leaves in the morning in case you want to sneak in and smell his clothes or something.
I mean, like he's that kind of guy and they're that kind of company. And again, they're somebody we wanted to partner with because they helped us so much. And we feel like they can do the same or they will do the same for anyone. So
right. And it was the same thing. Like I said, we contacted them and they sent us out some stuff to try out. Just, you know, they didn't charge us anything. They just sent it out and they, you know, gave us a ton of tips and tricks and things that we could do that we didn't even ask for. You know what I mean? Right. Like stuff with heating the water and lifting up the tanks and doing certain things to just have better screens and, you know, better cleaning and ease of use and everything. So
we have those partners. We have the best screen guy in the world. We have the best chemicals in the world. And then our final partner, it's the best tea in the world.
Right. Pure Leaf gave us $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, this is our
we
last
don't even
show.
have to screen print. Fuck screen printing. We're going to go sit on the beach and drink Pure Leaf.
It's been great.
And yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, that last part was a stretch, but it's a hope, like it's a dream, right? We can have
One day,
dreams.
right?
Yeah, one day.
Just a six pack, guys. Come on.
That's all it would take, and then we talk about you every single episode.
Right. And the other thing we wanted to talk about, what we just started recently, and you can still hop on for sure, is book club.
The cooking club, is that what it is?
Not cooking club yet. Let's do books first.
Okay, yeah, book club.
So we both wanted to expand our minds a little bit this year and learn things that's not necessarily all screen printing related. And we want to talk about it with you guys and want you to do it with us. So go to, I think, either the Facebook or the Instagram, and there's links to the book club to sign up. We'll send you emails about how we're going to do it. And at the end of every month, we want to have a meeting with just you guys and go over the book and share what we've learned and how we can put it in our own lives.
Yeah, we'll spam you with emails every single day.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing we just recently did is we got stickers.
Oh, God, thank God you remembered that. I forgot all about it.
Yeah, we have merch and stuff, but we're not going to peddle that. If you guys want it, it's cool. But stickers, we just want to do a sticker swap. So if you want to get one.
Hold that up again, because I don't think people, whoever's watching, and if you're not watching, it has...
it's holographic.
Holographic, yeah.
Like your old Charizard card, because for all the Pokemons that you collected.
Yeah.
Send us a sticker, the address, DM one of us, and we'll give you an address. Send us a sticker, and we'll mail one back free.
All right.
Hey, Gabe, it's great to see you, man. Like, you can rent an apartment in my town for like $500 a month, and it's like you can't do that anywhere else. And when I say before I bought my house in Winnie Point, I had an apartment that had like 4 bedrooms, like 2 big living rooms, a big kitchen, everything. It was $500, and it was like the entire top floor of like an old building. And it was like, you can't get that. And then when I moved from here to Georgia, I was in Marietta, and like even there, it wasn't like crazy rent, but it was still like it went from $500 to $1,500. Just for rent for an apartment. So that's what I mean. I've tried to say this to people. I'm like, if you don't need to be in the city to service like city customers, like get the fuck out of the city. Like,
well,
go
that's
somewhere
what it was
else.
For us. We were just kind of everything we did. So we're, my old desk, I'd like look to the left and it's just all windows. I'm looking at Manhattan. I'm just looking at the Empire State Building, everything. And I missed that because now I'm looking at like cinder block walls and I'm in a cave. But, everything we did, we UPS'd. Like we'd ship to Manhattan, we'd FedEx it, UPS it. Sometimes, occasionally, we'd messenger something, but I was just like, what are we doing? Like we can do this like 2 hours away, still have it there in a day, under normal shipping circumstances. But and a lot of stuff we ship all over the US, so it's kind of like straight to events. So it's like there's no point. I mean, we've gained our clients there, which now they're all on pause because we mainly focus on events. But the rent thing's it's crazy to me. I mean, our apartment in the city was $3,000. Our shop was $3,000. We've got payroll, equipment, leases, and it's just crazy. It was just eating me up. I'd go home at night and I'd just be like, all right, who do I have to email? What separations do I have to do? What do I have to send out? It's crazy. For the first time now, it's just kind of like, I'll go home and be like, just checked out. It's amazing. I'll mow my lawn and it's just like therapy.
You actually have a lawn now?
Yeah, we got 1.5 acres. My mom sent us a brand new John Deere lawnmower for a housewarming gift. And I was just like, we were like so taken back by it, but it's just our favorite thing. Like sometimes like it's to go home and mow.
See?
Yeah.
I used to love it. I get it.
Mow pro.
What do you
I'm
have?
with you.
Do you have a yard out there, Andy?
Yeah, we have a yard, but I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed
pays
to
the
say
guy to mow it.
I'm embarrassed to say that somebody else takes care of it for us.
We tried to do that, but it's not cheap here.
Yeah. Well, look, here's the thing. Like I used to do that whole thing. I had a writer and like you said, it's therapeutic. You get to jump on there and cut your grass. But it came to a point where like on the weekends, like I was putting in so much time at the shop that on the weekends, I just didn't want to also do more work or whatever. And so, I really like it. We had a condo for 10 years. And so we didn't have it was kind of that thing. We didn't have a lawn. There was a lawn there, but it was taken care of. And then when we moved to this house, we're like, well, let's just keep that going. And so yeah, I don't know. I don't have.
Give us the other half though. Like now you're in Hudson. Like what's
yeah.
What are you dealing with now?
As far as clients, like work wise?
No, like workload? What's the cost? What did it drop down to? And what's the shop you have now? And
dude, we got 2,000 square feet. I'm on the second level. I built the whole thing out myself. I spent like 2 months building it out. I lofted the back end. I actually looked to Andy he had a post of, the like meat curtains for the dark room. Did that whole thing. And, we got under my office is like the compressors in there, our big electrical panel, all that stuff, kind of a utility room. 2,000 square feet, it's $1,300 a month. So,
so you went from, so you doubled your square footage, right?
Yeah.
And then you halved your rent. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, less than halved. I mean, more than halved. It's, and because they were trying to we're like in the middle of this giant antique warehouse. We're next to a brewery. And then on the other side, we got a mushroom grower, Tivoli Mushrooms. And then between me and the mushroom growers is there's this empty space that they were just kind of like storing stuff in. And they were talking about putting a cardboard compacting company in there. And we're like, what are you doing? You've got food and beverage, food, and then you've got garments. So I went in with my neighbors and we just signed a lease to have it, just to hold it. And that's $900 a month. So I'm hoping, when things can get the ball rolling back here in 21, that we can just take over that space and blow the wall out, have nearly 4,000 square feet for, $2,100 or so, $2,200, which is still way less.
That rules.
Yeah. That's great.
How did you retain, your customers? How did you let them know, hey, I'm leaving and we still want to.
Like you said, he shipped everything anyway. So it didn't really matter. Yeah. It's not like you'd even have to let them know.
So I've always kind of like been trying to figure out how to plan that exit from the city. And, I did start to kind of poke for a while back, a year or so ago, just to kind of say like, hey, if we moved upstate and we were still shipping stuff to you, would you still work with us? And people are like, yeah, why not? And this one was just kind of like a cold turkey. We just pulled the plug and split. I mean, we were forcibly shut down. Like we couldn't leave our apartments for like 3 months, like a 600, 700 square foot apartment. It's nuts. I mean, the city was horrible. And I just kind of looked at it like, this is the only time we're ever going to be shut down for 3 months where none of our clients are also working.
Right. Nobody's bugging.
Pack it up. Let's go. And, I did get some stuff here and there. I sourced it. I work with Josh Seacat at Lancaster a lot. I keep touch with him. He really picked up a lot of the slack for us when we were down. Did some stuff with New Buffalo. I source a lot of stuff through ASI. That's not garments, but really we didn't get that much. But our clients, I mean, we work with agencies and corporate clients, and man, they're just crickets. I mean, we're getting a little bit of them here and there still. We really focus on rush orders, which is where MAYB TMRW came from. We're used to getting calls from
pretty good.
saying, Amex saying, hey, we need 8,000 tote bags by Thursday in Georgia, LA, and New York. And it's like, okay, got you. Like we had our suppliers that we can count on having stock, shipping one day, and then we print, ship one day. And that's just all out the window. I mean, those events aren't happening. You can't count on stock. You can't count on shipping. So we're just navigating these new waters. It's totally weird for us. Like we didn't really work with many smaller brands and businesses. They were just kind of like fill in the gaps type stuff before. And now we're kind of trying to figure out how to obtain that market, because ours is just flatlined. I mean, the events, we get a little bit here and there that are doing like these social distancing events and trying new projects, but it's like 15 jumpsuits and, I don't know, just random stuff. A lot of it we heat transfer just because it's so small.
How did you get into doing the event stuff? Like how, I know you were saying you used to kind of work in that space a little bit, but how did you get a lot of those clients?
So something that I used to catch a lot of heat for in the fabrication shop was I would always be chumming it up with the producers and anybody that came in the shop. I would just I would talk to everybody. You never know who you're talking to in the city of New York. And the guys would always make fun of me for that. They'd be like, "Oh, are you talking to her? Are you talking to him? Blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, you never know. You know, you don't burn your bridges." And that just worked. I mean, once they gave me that Google job and that kind of took off, they just immediately were just kind of like, "You're our new printer." And so I would shut down working at the shop during the day and I'd go to the studio and just print whatever they're sending me for Delta, you know, the Knicks, the Yankees, Audi, Google, YouTube, anything. And then you'd see these people that you're working with move around. So they just kind of go from one agency to another and they kind of take you with them and start planting you into these other places.
Right.
And next thing you know, you're working directly with Google, you're working directly with SoulCycle, and doing like crazy orders with them. But now we've even talked about it where we're just like, I hope when events come back, I think they're going to come back with a boom. Like they're just going to be so hungry to do these events and festivals. But I hope they remember us. I hope that there's not all this new staff that comes through and it's just like custom ink, which I have nothing against. I don't know these guys, but I mean,
did you ever hear of this company called Custom Ink? I got a real in with them.
Yeah, you guys know. You get the screenshots.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So long story short, you're happy now? You and your fiance?
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out. I mean, I think I've kind of just dug in a lot more than she has. I mean, like I said, she's a master painter. She's does her thing going around coffee shops and meeting with her friends and all that. And she's kind of lost that up here. I mean, we don't know anybody. I've kind of met people through here and there, and it's kind of an odd time to meet people in the first place. But I don't know. Right now, it's just kind of enjoy what it is because nothing's there anyway. I mean, the city's just, even though there are people walking around doing things, it's not what it was. I mean, I miss the energy a lot, but I also love our home. I mean, we bought a house at the worst time to buy a house, but best time because of interest rates. But so it's really nice to have something that's yours, and you're paying towards your investment instead of filling somebody else's pockets. Right. So that's nice. How
did you pick the city how did you pick it? Like, did you just spin the globe and then point to it? Or did you say, hey, this is where we're going to go? Did you drive up there and say, this is where we want to be? I mean, how did you choose where you're at now?
Everything about this was just a cluster. So I had basically been looking at this area, Kingston, and it's just, I was kind of paying attention to where there were print shops and where there weren't, because I didn't want to go into an overflooded market. I didn't want to step on people's toes. And, we checked out all these little towns and cities, and nothing was really what we needed to go from, New York City to a new life. And we were just driving home one day, and I called my buddy who moved up here a year or two ago. And I was like, man, I think our search is over. I think we're done, man. We're going to be in the city forever. And he's like, I think you guys really need to check out Germantown. And we're like, never heard of it. And we go home, and my partner, Tanya, she hops online and she just goes Germantown and finds this old blacked out farmhouse with black windows. And she's just like, you've got to look at this house. And I was like, I don't want to look at any more houses. I'm done. Like, this is it. We're living in the city. And she's like, you have to look at this house. And I saw it and I was like, okay, it's worth one more look. And we went up and we loved it. We loved the area. It was kind of like a bunch of Brooklynites had kind of come to this area and been opening up really good restaurants. And you could see things were changing. And Hudson is about 15, 20 minutes north of our house. It's a place I've always kind of liked. It's got enough for me to feel like I've got neighbors from the city and good coffee. So that's important. And it just kind of worked out. There's like no print shops here. Everybody goes to Albany or Kingston, which, you know, Albany is 45 minutes or an hour north, and Kingston's about 45 minutes south. So I've had people already come and just be like, man, this is amazing to know about, because we've been getting garbage prints, having to travel like an hour to get prints.
Like we have to go to upstate and get our shit done there. And it's just
complete dog shit.
The service sucks. Yeah. So now
thugs on motorcycles.
They told us to get bent.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, what? You're still like 3 hours apart, I think, from us. No?
I don't know how, because you were saying you were 2 hours from the city, and we're 2.5 hours from the city. So you got to be like literally like just like
I
a
think
V
we're like
from
a
us.
this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not that far. I mean, Kingston's not that far. Like,
yeah,
I could probably drive to you and like not that, like, even if it was 3 hours away, like,
yeah. And that's been something that's been different for us. And when we first moved up here, we were like, man, it sucks. You got to like drive everywhere. But there, you know, if you think about it, I rode my bike everywhere in the city, but you know, you should take the train to like Soho or whatever, and it's like 45 minutes. And my drive to the shop is 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like constantly trying to get like episodes of Shirt Show or whatever. And it takes me like 4 trips through the episode. But yeah, it's, I don't know, it's different. And I like it. I mean, it's definitely colder up here.
Yeah. Well, it's the same for me. Like the closest thing for me is Vestal and Binghamton, and that's like 25, 30 minutes away. So like, yeah, it's funny. Someone I was talking to the other day, I like go like maybe once a week to go to Chipotle or whatever and get like burritos. And it's literally a 35-minute drive to get there and a 35-minute drive back. So it's like, but to me, that's normal. That's like, yeah, I'm just going to get burritos. What are you talking about? Right. It's like, that's just how long it takes to get there. Yeah. So like, I mean, if we miss the UPS driver, I have to drive to the hub, and that's a half hour away. So it's like, it's just what it is. Like you want to go to the city and get something, it's a half hour from here. Yeah. So where I grew up, Portland was our city in Maine, and you know, it was 2.5 hours from me. So we'd go there all the time. So for us now, New York City is my new Portland. It's like, it's so easy. Right. And I meet people up here that are like, oh yeah, I've never been to the city. And I'm like, how have you never been to the city? Like, it's the greatest city in the world. It's like 2 hours from you. Hop on the train, man. It's the same for me. I've been to New York City maybe 4 times.
Really?
And I'm, like I said, I'm only 2.5 hours away. The problem is with everybody upstate with the city is you're a little bit pissed off at it just because they make the rest of the state expensive. But the other part is like up here, you're not used to traffic. You're not used to like being near anybody, and you can just go and come back. And it's like, as soon as you get close to the city, it's like you're in traffic for at least another hour to get to where you want to go. It's like me and Chris went to Madison Square Garden to watch like Bill Burr once, and we were literally right next to it, could see it right there. And it took an hour to get to the next like block to park. And it was crazy. Like, you got to figure another hour into whatever it takes to get there just because you need to find a place to park. And it's like, that's why people are like, fuck it, I'm not going.
And it's good to know like where to use the bathroom, because that's one of the biggest things about the city. It's like, especially now with COVID where there's no restaurants, like we have friends that like own restaurants or bars or galleries there. So, you know, we can kind of stop off at that. But yesterday, you know, we're there and it's just kind of like, oh, it's not as easy as before. Like if you don't live here, I gotta kind of take a leak. Like, where am I gonna go?
Just in a sewer drain somewhere.
So so take us back a little bit. You said that you were in construction and back in Maine, and you had you went and then you were in construction also in New York, building sets and stuff like that. And so you went and grabbed your
Well, you said you had print equipment.
Yeah, but like, well, why did you have print equipment? Like, not everybody has that. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So, you know, my dad strapped a tool belt on me when I was 11 years old, and I built houses with him, until I went to college in 2000. And then when I came back from college in 2003, built houses with him for like the next 8 years. And, you know, I was that son that was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a carpenter. I don't want to work with my dad. Like, so I was like, I'm gonna design shirts, and had a few printed from someplace out of Texas, not success. And it was like, I got these like thick, rough prints, you know, just like the sandpaper print. And for some dumb reason, I'm just looking on my phone at that time, my like T-Mobile Sidekick, and how hard is it to screen print? Just like everybody. And then, you know, all of a sudden that leads you into the number 1 advertisement, Ryanet, and I end up buying like a small shop kit for like $8,000 or something, maybe $8,500. And, you know, to me, like to start a business for $8,000, I was like, why not? And, so I had the 6-color 4-station joystick micro registration. That thing sucked. Do you guys have a joystick?
I used to, yeah. We never used it.
It was tough. It's like you get it just where you want it, then you tighten the micro and it would just like move.
As soon as you tighten it, it would shift. Exactly.
Yeah, it would shift.
Yeah.
So I had all that, and you know, I was just kind of printing. I had this little brand. I was riding the times of like Johnny Cupcakes and all that stuff, and on MTs and T-shirt forums.
I was going to bring that up to you because we talked about that once before, and I was really into that when it was happening. MTs and Minties.
Minties, that was the other one. I was trying to remember the other one.
I did MTs like for its entirety, and then when the guys that ran that didn't want to do it anymore, and then it went to like Minties or whatever, I like signed up for it, but I never got as involved because I feel like MTs was one of those things where it was like, it's like when you find a really good local like band message board, you know, before everything took over internet wise. And I feel like it was that space where everybody just really wanted to be into, and then it kind of like died out, and it was like, all right, I'm done with that. But yeah, that was like a huge deal.
What is Minties? Like what? I've never heard of it.
It was a website that was like a forum, but it was a submission artwork thing. It was more for designers, but like
John Bergerman was on there.
Right. Like printers kind of were in there too, because they were all kind of just sharing like ideas and tips, and like most of the front page was like design submitted and how many likes designs got.
Designs. Yeah.
But realistically, the only thing that mattered to me was like the message board part of it, where you'd get in there and people would just talk shit about each other or, you know, and it was just fun. Like everybody knew who everybody was. It was like Skull with Hair and like all these other people that were in there. And
so was it like the thing where you submit designs and then the one that receives the most engagement or likes or whatever, they actually printed it?
No.
Is that no? Because I saw
there's sites like that now. I think it's just like, I think it was just credibility. It was like, if you got on there and you got enough likes to get on the front page, you were a real designer. You weren't just like some asshole.
You made it.
Right. So that's all it was. It was literally like a shit talk website about printing and design.
They didn't print shirts on it. You're saying
no, but if you were on it and you were active and well, you were probably, I mean, in our eyes back then, that was what, like fucking 15 years ago?
Yeah, it was probably 2006, 2000.
Yeah. So if you were like, if you were like one of the top designers that was always on the front page, you were like one of the designers that people were looking for to like grab you and use you. So it was kind of like everybody wanted to be on the front page because they got a lot of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny.
So to go back to that, I tried to sell all that stuff. When I moved to New York, it collected dust. And for a while, it's just like, that's done. That part of my life's gone. And I had it on Craigslist and people were offering me like super low for it. And I just kind of kept pushing it off. And then luckily it all worked out. I mean, that it snowballed into that ask from a client, and just kind of quit my job within 2 months and went up and grabbed the stuff and made it full time. But I don't know. It's a weird thing, because with what I was doing in fabrication, there was a lot of really challenging situations that we would get ourselves in and be presented with. It's not just like build a house. It's, build this giant curve, like light up fixture that when you walk in, it pulls the feed from your phone and like gets your like Instagram match or whatever. Like we did wild stuff. So then to go into screen printing, I was just kind of like, am I like backing down to something that's going to use my brain less, but I've kind of come back to loving screen printing and like loving the business aspect of it, and like running this team and kind of like keeping things going. Like I don't give, right now I've got like 2 full-time employees outside of me, but I don't give anybody like particular like delegated jobs. Like you're a screen washer, you're a screen printer. Like I've got 2 that just, they do everything. And I think Dylan, I think you've talked about that a little, just like everybody kind of knows how to do something. And I think it helps keep like morale kind of there, you know, and excited about it, because it's pretty monotonous to come in. And I think, Andy, you've said like you've had people washing screens, or maybe it was you, Dylan, that just like, we're like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, we were just talking about that the other day, because I don't know why, but Brian has a list, and he's like the art department guy. He has a list of everybody who's ever worked here, because he's been here since the very beginning. And we were going through that list the other day, and there was a guy we had in here once that I think I don't know if I told the story or not yet, but like he wanted to work here, and I was doing like a job search, or I was trying to find somebody, and we kind of knew who he was, and he was like, "Oh, I'll wait. I'll put in my 2 weeks. Can you wait 2 weeks for me?" And I'm like, "All right, fine. Fuck. Like, we'll wait 2 weeks for him." Finally get him in here. Literally the day he was here, we like showed him he was going to clean screens. He was going to be like our screen guy or whatever. And he started cleaning screens, and it was like, I don't know, it was like 11 o'clock when he got here, and he started cleaning screens, and I left to go to lunch. And when I came back, everybody in the shop was just smiling at me. And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "He fucking quit." I was like, "He's been here half an hour. Like, did he even turn the pressure washer on?" And they're like, "He said that if he had to do this every day, he would kill himself." And I was like, awesome. like, what the fuck? Like, you weren't even here a half an hour.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make that distinction?
It's interesting to see you guys with like the, you know, like full-time people. Like, I mean, I don't know how many you have, Dylan. I know like Andy, I see has like
400.
Yeah.
We just hit 400. Yeah. Now. So.
Like for me in the city, like we had 2 or 3 full-timers. I don't even remember now. And, you know, I just had a stretch of freelancers. So I have like 18 freelancers at one point, you know, where we'd do live events and we'd pull 16 in for an event. And, you know, same thing in the shop. I'd just call in freelancers when we need them, somebody to catch and fold, somebody to stage, whatever, depending on the job, which was kind of nice. You could just be like, "Hey, I need you these days." And they're like, "Cool, that's all I want to work anyway."
They're basically independent contractors. Like you didn't have to put them on payroll.
Yeah, just 1099 them, and that's it. You just cut them a check, and that's it. And I mean, I run everything where everything's paid up front. I don't do anything like 50-50 or any of that. Now we're kind of opening up to where we're working with like smaller hurting businesses or brands. We'll work with them where it's like, "Hey, we know what's going on." Like, but when we work with those agencies with the events, it's just kind of like, you know, they need it by a certain time. If they're going to go on like a website and order it, they got to pay for it right there. So same thing if you want us to, like, I don't want to chase money. I don't want to deal with that. But in live printing, we do 50-50, but who knows when that's coming back. So,
right. Were you doing a lot of live printing?
We would do probably 3 to 4 a year. I had a storage unit that I just had decked out. Like you just go in and grab what you need. I had like 8 heat presses in there, two printing presses, 2 mini dryers. We would do ones, like one of the best ones we did was in Williamsburg 2 years ago. We did a 5-day residency with Adidas at the Williamsburg Hotel. And that was the one I had like 18 people on. Like we had like 9 people doing shifts. So it was so long through the day, we'd just like shift people. And I mean, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of money. It's just getting out of the shop and having fun. But I've done ones where we did a 2-day event in Paramus, New Jersey, and we went in and we didn't print one shirt the entire time. They were selling $250 shirts that somebody could come up and have printed. I'm just like, dude, nobody wants anything that's not free.
Right. Yeah. No, I fully get that. I ended up watching a Printavo video the other day, actually, when I was just sitting here taking a lunch break, and they were talking to Lucky Prints, and they were talking about the 4-day work week. Have either of you looked into that at all to see like what it like? Because I've thought about it before, but to me it was just kind of like, well, it couldn't be Monday because Monday is like one of our busiest days of like catching up from the weekend, and I was like, it can't be Friday because almost everybody wants to get an order in or print or like pick up on Friday. So I was like, I don't think that's going to work out. But after hearing them talk about it, they were talking about how they just basically did it. They did Monday through Thursday. And the nice thing about it is if they did a full week, when you asked your employees when they came back on Monday, like, oh, what'd you do this weekend or whatever? They were like, oh, I just chilled because, they worked 5 full days and they were tired. But they said once they started doing the 4-day work week, people started doing things. They started like doing like a mini trip or they started whatever because they had Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's interesting. Do they do longer days?
Yeah, they do 4 10-hour days. And then the nice thing I thought about it too is he was like, well, then Friday, because he was the owner and he was like, I still come in on Friday. But the nice thing is if we have normally say you did a 5-day work week or whatever, and then you needed to get some jobs done for overtime, you wouldn't have to have people in on like Saturdays and Sundays. They could just come in on Friday. So it's like they could come in on Friday till lunch and then leave and then be done. He's like, so it was always nice to have like a buffer day. And I was like, it is a buffer day kind of, but like,
it's an interesting
it just
concept,
seems cool. Yeah, it seems like
I'm there with you. Like Monday's super busy with emails, then Friday is also super busy with emails. So I'd have a hard time. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
but I feel like it would be easier for us because we ship everything too. Like if we just told our customers, hey, we're closing on Friday, they would be like, all right, well, I'll pick up on Thursday then. But I feel like for Andy, I know you get a ton of walk-ins. So
I mean, the 4-day work week sounds great, but I'm on to the 4-hour work week. So it's a little different than the 4-day. I've got it kind of figured out. There's a book on it, actually, Tim Ferriss. And so that's maybe the next book because
working 4 hours.
Yeah, because I think the philosophy behind that is a lot of time is to eliminate all of the bullshit you do every day, and like certain emails or whatever, you know what I mean? Like just some of the redundant stuff. And just sometimes like I spend time just blocking people from, how many times you get an email and you just hit delete because it's faster, but then you get that same fucking email like the next day or whatever. And if you just got to go in there and block them, then you wouldn't have to hit delete every time. And so
I do that all the time.
You do what all the time?
I unsubscribe all the time.
Yeah.
Do you guys have ASI accounts?
No, I don't do any of that stuff.
It's something I'm thinking of getting rid of simply because of that. I mean, it does make a lot of money here and there, but man, the emails from the suppliers they just don't stop. They're insane.
I've said this a million times, and I wish there was like a do not call list for digitizers.
Oh my God.
Dude, all fucking day, every day. Like it's funny. I can hear from my chair. I can hear the front phone ring, and I always hear like it pick up, like the click of her picking it up. And then 3 seconds later, I hear it go down, and it's like, it's always a digitizer. It's like, it's like, excuse me, can I talk to the manager of the embroidery? Click. And it's just like, dude,
we're not doing embroidery. Sorry.
Oh, for real. Well, I want to kind of talk about this real quick because we talked about it over like 5 or 6 episodes where I was talking about in 2021, I wanted to step everything up for my employees because I invested a lot of stuff into the building and equipment, everything else. So I want to say that I finally just did it. I gave everybody, a good jump in pay. And the funny thing is me and Andy had this conversation like 4 times where I was like, what do I do for PTO? How many times we talk about PTO over like the last 3 months? So I fucking finally go to my accountant's office and I'm talking to her about stuff. And I'm like, I'd really like to look into PTO. And she's like, I'd really like to talk to you because starting January 1st in New York, you have to offer 40 hours PTO no matter what. And I was like,
starting when?
January 1st.
Oh,
every employee gets 40 hours PTO. And the best part about it is if you hire somebody tomorrow, they automatically get 40 hours PTO. Damn. There's no like year wait. There's no nothing. So that applies to you too.
You're saying New York as a state
Yeah.
they have a law saying you have to offer 40 hours,
40 hours PTO.
I guess it's same thing, sick pay or vacation pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about holiday pay?
They didn't say anything about holiday. It's just 40 hours PTO. It's definitely from COVID reasons, because she was saying that it's because like if somebody was sick and they like had to leave because of COVID, they were at least getting 40 hours paid by the business owner rather than like whatever else they would be getting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's straight up like a thing now. And the funny thing is like I kind of grouped together everybody when I told everybody about their raises, like from the shop. And I was like, I tried to say it like without them knowing, you know what I mean? I was like, and I'm offering you guys now 40 hours paid time off. And Sarah immediately was like, isn't that a thing now where like you have to pay that? And I was like, fuck. Like I didn't get any credit for the 40 hours. It was just like, it totally got cut out from under me. Like they don't understand how long I stewed about like what I was going to do for them as like a benefit. And then when I finally got to like give them one, it got cut from under me. And I was like,
it's hard, man. Like, you know, we were doing, as most people were, like we were just taking off in 2020. And that's one of the things I was always kind of taught by my dad, and him owning his own business and seeing him, you know, work with subcontractors. And it's always make sure at the end of the day, the people who are getting your work done for you are taken care of. So, you know, this whole thing's, been really difficult because I've got a great lead employee right now, and a great employee, you know, working with her. And it's like, you want to really take care of these people. But right now we're also still trying to navigate how we're going to move forward right now. And it is starting to come back. So I try to be as open as I possibly can with them to just kind of say like, you know, this is where we're at. Things kind of suck right now, but you know, this is on my mind. Like I want to bring these guys on salary instead of, you know, hourly. You know, right now they're doing 40 hours a week when we can, but you know, every now and then it's like, hey, you guys good with Friday off? And
no, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. And it's like towards the end of the year, I started kind of testing the waters. I'm like, okay, can I do like, you know, paid days off and stuff? But it's just the market's not there for us right now. I mean, we lost a lot. We lost a lot from this move, and trying to get the ball moving again in this environment. It's tough. I mean, it's just a weird time right now. I mean, I know a lot of people are doing really good. A lot of people are doing bad or just shut down, which is, you know, like you said, it's just kind of like weeds out the good and the bad. But, you know, when you find yourself in that in between choppy waters where you get one or two good orders that are really good, you know, like 1,000-piece orders, and you're like, wow, I haven't seen one of those in a while. And then, you know, just kind of filling it in with 30-piece, 50-piece, 300-piece. It's still, we'll take it all, but it's hard because, you know, at the end of the day, the last people I want it to affect is the people that are getting work done for me. Like they, you know, they're like my family.
Right. Well, that was my problem, is that I've always had like a core set of like, now we've got like 10 people, and it's like, I've always tried to like treat them like that, you know, like family. And like I said, I ask everybody their opinion before we do anything, before we buy like a press or whatever we're going to do. And then when stuff happens, like they all know what's happening. Nobody's here's in the dark about the business. Like, yeah, I know the numbers and like all this other stuff, but like they know what's going on. So like, to me, that was like, everybody here knows if it's slow, that they, you know in their mind, like, hey, let's work a little harder to get it back on track or whatever we got to do. So that was my big thing, is like just giving them something a little extra from here on out. And I'd like to just keep doing that over and over again. But I don't know. We'll see how this year is, I guess.
I know.
Yeah. I've always had like the philosophy of 51-49. I always want to be I always want to be compensating my team a little more than fair, you know, so that they feel like, hey, this place is, not only is it a great place to work, like creatively, and I love working with my hands or printing shirts or whatever it is, but I'm also compensated a little more than fair, or way more than fair. Who knows, you know? So I don't want anyone to feel like, man, I'm working my ass off and I'm not getting enough, you know, because that's a terrible feeling. I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
I remember that feeling. It's a horrible feeling. So
Well, that was the discussion like we had the other day when I was talking to you about it. It was just kind of like, I've always kind of had it to where everybody here was paid pretty well. You know, everybody was paid, especially like now, you know, like where you are in Hudson, like the cost of living isn't like, I need to be paying everybody like $30 an hour or something. It's not necessary. Right. So I've always paid everybody pretty well. But the discussion that me and Chris and Brian were having was that maybe with new hires, what we should do is we should just go like above and beyond. And especially the people that already work here, to where there's never the discussion of, you know, hey, I like to work here because it's cool and I like the people that are here and whatever. But when you're working a 12-hour day because we're trying to get shit done, that stuff goes out the window. You don't think about how cool the place is when you're tired and you want to go home and you have bills to pay. They're thinking about, I'm making X, you know, dollars an hour or whatever. So the whole thing with this new 2021 was I just went ahead and I went to my accountant and I was like, what can I afford? Like, yeah, I don't want to look at somebody and be like, I can get away with paying him $15 an hour. I want to be like, what can I afford to just like give them all like a good amount of money to where they shouldn't come to me and be like, fuck this job, I don't make enough. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's pretty much what I did. I just pulled the trigger and was like, all right, this is what I think you're worth. This is what I think you're worth, rather than just like, what can I get away with paying somebody? So I feel like everybody super appreciated that. Like I could tell immediately that they were all like stoked about it. So that was the whole thing with new hires. It's like, now if I hire somebody new, it's more, an average printer in New York State, you know, should be, you know, worth this amount when they walk in. I'm like, no, this is what you make here. You know, take it or leave it.
I would try to get people in for a day in the city, and they'd be like, "Man, I don't get out of bed for less than $25 an hour." And I'm like, "You have no idea what you're doing. Like you're folding shirts. Like you're kidding me? No."
Yeah, those are the people you just grab on top of their head and just spin them around and just push them off the door. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to talk about this in the pregame, Andy, because I wanted to get his opinion on this. And last night was pretty good, just because Saturday night we came to the shop and we kind of set up like a big command center and like played Xbox, and we all had TVs and it was awesome. So I had a really good Saturday night, and I got home. It was like, I don't know, probably 2 a.m. and I went to sleep, and I rarely sleep like really good. Like I toss and turn all night because my back hurts so bad or whatever. Well, last night I had just slept like a fucking rock for some reason. Like I was just out, super tired. But my entire 10 hours of sleeping last night was one long dream, and it was like a super vivid dream. It was like I lived it the entire time, and I got woken up. I was like pissed that I woke up. But for some reason, we were in Texas. Like me and you were in Texas, and
you and Gabe?
We ended up what? No, me and you.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Gabe. For no reason, we're just hanging out in Texas.
Well, I mean, you're talking today. I thought maybe that was you. I didn't know who you were there with.
I was like, all right, Gabe, me and you were going to Texas. But anyway, for some reason, we ended up at Joe Rogan's house. And
nice.
Yeah, and it was funny because he's just like a normal dude. We were just talking, hanging out, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to like, let's do a podcast?"
Deprivation tank.
Right, exactly. He was like, "Do you want to do a podcast?" And I was like, "All right, cool." So me and you ended up like kind of being on the Joe Rogan podcast, but he was like, "How about you record your podcast and I'll record my podcast, and it'll both be like the same, but we'll share it on whatever." So we're like, "All right, cool." So we ended up just bullshitting and talking, and then out of nowhere, like I turned to my right and Elon Musk was there, and I was like, hey, and then we just started talking. And then again, we were all bullshitting the same Joe Rogan stuff. Like he's pouring drinks and like, we're just hanging out and talking. And then like out of nowhere, we were at Elon Musk's house, and he was just like doing super rich guy shit, this was the best part of my dream, where it was just like, he has so much money that he just does stupid shit to be like, I have money to pay for this. Like there was literally a guy in a room of mirrors where he had like a 2-way mirror, and he just watched this guy like get lost and couldn't figure out how to get out. And I was just like, this is what you can do with money. And then after we left Elon's, we went back to Joe Rogan's and ate cheesecake.
Thought you were for sure going to say elk, like some meat.
No, we got back. The reason why I remember it was cheesecake is because when we got there, he had like out front, he had like like a buffet line of cheesecakes or whatever to eat. And then I remember, this is so stupid. I remember it because I got my own, and because we were guests in his place, I was like, oh, I'll get Joe like a piece. And I like got him a piece and brought it over to him. And he was like, oh, hey bud, no worries. I already got my own. And then I woke up and I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
that's what happens when you stay up till 2 a.m.
But the best part of it was so vivid that I literally feel like it happened, and like we experienced that together. We were on the Joe Rogan Experience. We hung out with Elon Musk. We saw rich guy shit, and we ate cheesecake. And I was like, all right, it's pretty cool.
It's a dope dream.
So I just wanted to let you know about the adventure that we had last night.
Sounds good.
Do you guys have, well, the thing I wanted to ask you is like, I never have dreams that are like crazy. Like some people are like, oh, last night I was like, I could fly and I was like riding unicorns and fucking all this other stuff. It's like, I never have dreams like that. It's always a situation. I'm just like plopped somewhere in a situation, and normal stuff happens. No magic, no like crazy stuff.
Are they ever recurring dreams, or are they always different?
No, it's always different, but it's just like real life stuff. It's always like grounded in reality. There's no weirdness. I mean, it's kind of weird. I was hanging out with Elon Musk, but I feel like it's doable.
Yeah.
Gabe, you got dreams?
Man, lately I've been sleeping deeper than ever in the city. You know, in the city, we had a train on top of us, subway below us, like construction next door. I've just been assed out at night. But I used to have a really, I would be a problem solver when I sleep. I when I was especially back in fabrication, where we'd have so many crazy challenges thrown at us, and you just work so hard, like, 14-hour days or whatever, and go home and just face down. And then you wake up and like, you're just thinking of what you couldn't problem solve. And then just at like 3 a.m, I'd be like, that's it. That's how I'm going to do it. And I'd go in the next day and just execute. I've had that happen a little bit with screen printing, but man, these past few months have just been like, there's dead silence. It's pitch black. It's kind of great.
You ever wake up in the middle of the night like that, and you're like, okay, that's it. That's how I'm going to do it. And then you go back to bed, and then you forget what it was. You're like, shit, what was that?
For me, it's always just kind of been like, it's been there. And then it's like the next day I go in and do it. And
yeah, I'm definitely one of those guys where I'm doing anything, and then I think of something that's so profound, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, that's how I need to do that now. And I'm like, I don't need to write this down, because like, I'm definitely going to remember this tomorrow. And then I totally forget what it was, and it's gone forever. Like some crazy invention or way to fix something, and it's fucking gone.
Speaking of all that, what is your, how's your guys' like efficiency process? Like, software wise? I know, Andy, I talked to you forever ago, and you actually got me back into Trello. I've used QuickBooks since day one of back in 2014. That's how I've invoiced everything. So I have stuff put in there. I've tried so many different things, and I just keep coming back to QuickBooks and Trello. I know, Andy, I just spoke to you about it recently, and you're using Monday, I think. Right.
Yeah. So I miss parts of Trello. We went to Monday it's been exactly a year. We did it in January of 2020 because Trello was slightly limiting. I mean, we could only take it so far. But certain parts of Trello are really powerful, like the view, like the way you can scroll through your days. It's kick ass. I love that about it. That's the main
feature. Yeah.
But Monday is more powerful in how it links things or zaps things, or just how you can track data, and so maybe Trello is, I'm sure they've evolved, or maybe they have a new version out now. I don't really know. I haven't looked at it really for a year, but Trello's awesome. I mean, if you can do a lot with Trello with the combo, like you just said, the combo of QuickBooks Trello. It's a great combo. It's kind of like QuickBooks Monday, but but I think that the all-in-one, there are those out there, there's the all-in-one, like Printavo and Shopworks and all that stuff. It's available, but every time we've looked at it, this was going back a while. Every time we looked at it, it just wasn't there exactly what we needed. And I think that's probably pretty hard for any software company, when it's specific to a niche or screen printing or an industry, how do you build it? like, how do you build a software program for a screen printing shop when their screen printing shops are so different? They're vastly different,
Right.
whether you're in your garage or you're, a 20 auto company. I mean, it's so different
Right.
how you operate internally. And so maybe the customization is what I loved about having Trello or a Monday and QuickBooks, is you can kind of tailor it to how you function. That's what I loved about it. Pretty easily.
And it's the same thing you said. I mean, the Trello's visual board is it's perfect for somebody to hop on a computer downstairs and just be like, okay, this is what I got to do. Open it up. You got details and whatnot. And I mean, I've tried, like you said, I've tried finding that like perfect solution. I tried Deco Network for a while. We still have Inksoft. I mean, I have so much money out in like software and like just ASI and this stuff that I need to start trimming the fat, because especially at a time like this, but they're just not there. I mean, Printavo, great software. I couldn't figure out if it was right for me. Deco worked pretty good. It was pretty deep and has different admin access. So like, somebody doing shipping can log in, see only that stuff, or what production can log in, see only production stuff. Inksoft, it's a beautiful like software, but it's just missing a bit for me. And I keep trying because the proposals are like a beautiful platform to kind of shoot off to your client. They're like, wow, this is so cool. Like, it's so smooth and sleek, but it's just, there's stuff there that's in the back end, just not there for me yet. And I just keep going back. Like QuickBooks, I know it, I can knock them out quick. And Trello, I can just pop everything in there. And I've actually thought about too, like Dylan, I've heard you say you use Google, and I use Google G Suite for everything. So I'm interested to see like how you do that with Google. I mean,
that's the thing that people don't get. Like, we have had this conversation a ton of times, and it's like, I get shit on for how like archaic certain things are. But the thing is like, when you start this business, like you were saying, like you bought a press and everything you needed for $8,000, and you were like, all right, I'm going to just like Google shit or YouTube shit and figure stuff out. And it's like, in the beginning, when you start the business, that's all you're learning everything. And you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, until you kind of figure out a method that really works and sticks.
Yeah. It can be years.
Right. But that's what I'm saying, is that's what happens with me, and like not using shop management software. It was just like, okay, like, how do we invoice somebody? All right, we'll try this. We try this. We don't like this. All right. We found FreshBooks and we really like how it works. Like, yeah, it might take a little bit longer to like put in each item and whatever else, because it's not meant for screen printing, but like, we figured it out. It works. And now it has like fucking 10 years worth of catalog of like every invoice we've ever done. And then it's the same thing with like, all right, how do we schedule our jobs? And it's like, all right, well, let's use Google Calendar and let's do, and this had nothing to do with like Printavo and all these other things. And now I look at their stuff and I'm like, their calendar is the same exact way we do it now. And we stumbled on it ourselves. Like, we're like, okay. And I don't use the calendar as like actual time slots. I just use it as like placeholders of like, okay, there's one press and here's the other press. And it's like, that's on today. Okay. You know what I mean? So like, I break it up for two presses, and then I'm like, okay, well, purple means it's on the schedule, but it's not ordered. And then when it turns blue or red, it's either regular turnaround or it's a must print. And then when it's gray, it's done. And it's just like, okay, that's easy. But then we use Google Drive for artwork. So it's like, I get artwork from a customer. We put it in there in a folder of like, okay, this is what the mockup is. This is the artwork, whatever. And then Brian will look at the schedule and be like, okay, what jobs do I need to do steps for, the guys to burn the screens? And he just goes through the schedule and goes to Google Drive and grabs that art, finishes it, puts it in the Drive folder for the CTS. So it's like, there's nothing wrong with any of these steps. And we're so in tune to it to where everybody has their own flow, whatever. And it literally costs me next to nothing, because I'm just paying for G Suite. Like my email, like print at upstatemerch.com and Chris at upstatemerch.com, whatever, is all paid through Google.
Well, that's a whole lot different than Post-it notes. I mean, that's more elaborate than.
Right. I'm just saying that like my post, that's where I'm lacking, is like with the Post-it notes, is like, I haven't figured out a good way to. And I know you can kind of do it in FreshBooks, but like when I get a payment from somebody, they pay through our website through PayPal. Like they pay with either card or their PayPal, obviously. And then I get an email saying that customer paid. So every day, anytime anybody pays, I write down the invoice number on a Post-it note. So that's where people are giving me shit, is because I'm writing stuff down on a Post-it note. And then at the end of every day, I take that Post-it note and I hand it to Chris, who does the scheduling. So he just looks through those invoice numbers and adds them to the schedule. My problem is that when I don't get an email for some reason, or just something happened because I'm writing shit down, like we might get a customer that calls in a week and is like, hey, when's my stuff on the schedule? And then we look and it's not on the schedule. And then I look back and I see that they actually paid a week and a half ago. Then I'm like, oh shit, I must not have wrote that down. Yeah, that honestly only happens maybe like 4 times a year, but it happens. And it's like, I'm sure there's a better way for me to automate this. But my question is, and Bruce has tried to come after me and Inksoft and all these other people to get us to use their stuff, is that little nugget of me not, scheduling those 4 jobs a year worth me paying, whatever it is, like $300 a month for? And it's like, probably not. But the other part of it is there's other things too, like with UPS, like at the end of the day, when Chris has to ship stuff, like we're logging into ups.com and logging in everybody's address and where it ships to. Yeah, I'm sure on Printavo, you can just go print label. It's stuff like that I'm like, okay, well, maybe now if we're going to grow to a bigger company and do these other things, maybe I should look into, I know the system works, but maybe I should really look into automating more of these things to where the human error aspect is
just automation.
It's just automation in general. Right. But I'm saying is we've done flawlessly, well, super flawlessly, but for the most part, flawlessly. We go through every day with nobody having to ask other people things. They know exactly what to do with the system we have. It's not a broken system. It's just, there's obviously someone makes software that does skip steps and makes things easier for people. So that's where I'm at. Same with you, asking about like, what's the best? And I've been doing that for a year now, like asking people, what do you use? How do you use it? Whatever. So, I mean,
and that's
for me,
what's hung me up on Inksoft. Like they've got me because of the stores work great. And I mean, with this whole, like, being able to bring businesses in, with the Here for Good thing, what we've been doing with Life Fest, and like, it's excellent for that, because it takes it and it moves it through the system. When it's completed, it automatically puts it in the ship station. You click a label, print it. There's no like error in our part. And, but between that and like, we have customers who out in California who they have all of their employees log on to their page and kind of like a roster. They like order their size and whatever. And once it's all done, we build a client. We have everybody's addresses, every size we need. That's been the thing that I can't let go of. Outside of that, I'd probably just go back to my main system.
Me and Andy both have Inksoft too. We use for the stores. Like I will argue with anybody that for me, that has been the savior of stores. Like it's super easy to set one up. Again, like you said, like I was even having like a little bit of an issue with it a little while ago, like a couple months ago now, where Andy's got to go. He's got diarrhea again. It's just like, I had to go into like stamps or whatever that I had the shipping in, and I would have to go in and put the weight for every package in. Well, then I found out from somebody, you should use, what is it? ShipStation.
ShipStation is incredible.
Dude, it's so fucking worth the money. Like, I don't even know.
Pay twice what it's for.
I don't even know what it is monthly anymore. I just, as soon as I did it, I was like, this is the best thing ever, because I can literally go like, I have 400 things I need to ship for the store. I go to ShipStation, hit refresh, and then buy label, and it prints 400 labels.
And you can I keep finding out more and more, like you can bulk select everything and automatically like adjust bulk adjust like size, weight, package dimensions with like a click. And then
that's what I do.
And I'm just like, this is amazing.
That's what I said.
Like,
you don't have to, it takes the information that Inksoft has for like the weight of the object, and it automatically puts it in. Like you couldn't do that before with stamps. It was like every package, or even in Inksoft's program, you'd have to put in like the dimensions of the thing and the weight. And I would do that. It would literally take me like half a day every time we shipped everything and like add all that in. And now I just click a button on ShipStation and it literally prints like the entire roll of labels. And I'm like, this is the best
all on
thing
the floor.
ever.
We just did a we're kind of getting into fulfillment a little bit. Something I've been also talking to Lancaster about because he's kind of crushing it at it. It's tricky for us. I mean, we don't have a separated space for it yet, but getting into charging for storage and all that. But I just found out the other day, you can just download a CSV template and have your client fill out all their addresses and emails and everything and just upload it into ShipStation. It's just like, it's anything that takes human error out of shipping. I mean, have you ever shipped one person's job to another person and vice versa? I've done it once and I'll never do it again.
So that's what I mean is it's like, as we're growing as a business, the same as you, like we're just trying to get to the point where I'm trying to make sure all the systems are in place for like, if I have to leave for a week, that everybody here can just do stuff. So that's kind of where I'm looking into it. I want to get myself out of the equation. Like, I want to run the business and I want to work on marketing and I want to work on just like anything I want to work on, but all the other things I want to just be like, it's totally basically runs itself. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do that. I'm trying not to drink any Kool-Aids anywhere. I'm just trying to literally talk to people and be like, give me the fucking honest answer here. Like, I know you want to give me your 3-hour sales pitch, but just tell me like, does this work or not? And like, is it going to work for me? And that's kind of like I said, I've had conversations with Bruce and I was like, dude, I would love to use your shit. Cause you guys put a lot into this industry and you're always about education, whatever. But like, if this doesn't fucking work, I'm not going to use it. Like I love you as a person.
It takes a long time to put the back end together for it to work for you. So it's really hard. I mean,
I would love to use it. I mean, it sounds super promising. We actually have a day this week where he's going to walk me through the whole thing. And the best part of it is I'm buddies with Matt Marcotte and he works there now. So I'm going to call Matt and just be like, dude, how's this going to work for me?
Yeah, I think a hard part too for us switching at this point is just everything that we have archived, whether it's in QuickBooks or other stuff. Like such a powerful thing right now for us is just to go in and search and find it fast, the history of it.
But that's the thing with FreshBooks is you can literally just type in an old invoice number or a customer name and every order they've ever had is right there. Like, what do I do? Because I'm paying money for FreshBooks. Like if I pay for Printavo, I don't need FreshBooks anymore. But what do I do?
Well, you'll have to keep it around so that you can, look at archives.
Right, but that's what I mean. Do I do that? Or do I just say, if anybody has to reorder, I have to like go back and look. The nice thing that we've done is that's why I was saying with FreshBooks is we don't go through FreshBooks for like the payment and email service of it. Like when you make an invoice, I don't email it from FreshBooks. I download the PDF and then we email it to them. So now if I have to look up, the nice thing about Gmail is if I have to look up an invoice, I could technically go through all the invoices or all the emails we've ever had and be like I could just type in the invoice number in search in Gmail and it would probably come up with that emailed invoice. But like I said, that's just like an extra step that maybe I'll find it, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, do you growing your hair out?
Yeah, I haven't cut it for a while.
He wants a ponytail.
Well, I still can.
He's trying really hard for that ponytail. So I saw on your guys' Instagram a little while ago, you guys were printing towels.
That was an ASI job. Yeah. So man, I'm really selective with factory work. I've kind of learned over the years the factories to use and the factories not to use and how to keep it domestic for like rush orders and stuff. That's Terrytown Towels out of, I think, New Jersey, possibly New York. Terrytown. That'd be New York.
I saw that too. Wasn't it a green towel? Is that what you saw?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked good.
Flowcast. Yeah,
well, it's funny,
actually looked really good.
Do they have
a scratchy
Do they have a towel mode on the Cobra?
Get the fuck out of here.
No.
Towel
They
mode?
have that. They have that on the G3.
What is that?
There's a towel. They told us, I don't remember what it is now, but there's like a towel setting.
That's dumb.
Like,
what does that do?
Because when you print towels, when you print towels, you don't just like a t-shirt, you wouldn't just print in one direction. It prints in one direction and then stops and prints in the other direction. Because you have towel fabrics that are so up that you would get both sides.
It prints?
There's a towel mode. I'm telling you.
Hold on. It never floods?
No, I don't know. That's what I don't print towels, but I'm just saying when
It prints forward and then backwards.
yes.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't
Yes,
happen.
it does.
I don't think so.
No,
I'm
I
telling
don't
you.
think
The
so.
screen drag. What about the screen drag? I mean,
Yeah, they lied to your ass. They're like, hey, check out the towel mode.
Dude, I don't know. It could be, but I was curious about it because I was going to ask you because I saw you had towels, but you fucking didn't use towel
nope.
mode. You ordered them somewhere
sources.
else.
We do print towels here. We print rally towels. That's the
Yeah,
only
but those are
towel
like
really
smaller
that we do.
towels, right?
The towels he had?
No, the towels that you print.
Oh
like
yeah, yes.
smaller hand towels,
Because
right?
really, and whenever somebody wants, like, we don't print white ink on towels, although we should because
Yeah.
we could water base it or discharge it or something like that. But we print just usually very dark ink. Most people want white rally towels. Most rally towels are white.
Dude, I'm going to try to look this up real quick because I really hope I'm not pulling this on my ass.
And for real, we just
any of you
print-
guys? Go ahead.
I was gonna say about our ink. Whenever we print rally towels, we just thin it out like way beyond what it
Yeah.
recommends. Just make it really soupy and then print into the towel so that it can get into that terry. You know what I mean? And it's the only way to make it happen for us. But towel
You
mode.
guys talk for a minute. I'm going to call fucking Tanner real quick and be like, dude, this is a thing, right? Because I can't go another hour without thinking that I'm an asshole.
There's no way towel mode.
You
Okay,
guys-
maybe
sounds
there
crazy.
is, but it's not printing in both directions.
I'm
how
pretty
is
sure
that?
that's what he told me.
Okay.
So
It
one
made
of the
total
things-
sense. When he told me, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
When I was shopping for a auto, I mean, I was picking people's brains for months. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Drew Nickerson at 320 Ink
Yeah.
up in Maine.
Yeah. He's a good dude.
Man, I've been talking to him I met him on t-shirt forums in like 2008 and just like a really rad dude. He's really just a down to earth good guy. And he's always given me a lot of pointers coming up. And, I picked his brain a lot about it. And I know at that time he was actually investing in a rock, and Andy talked to you a bunch about it, Dylan. And right when I bought mine, Tony Sotomayor, I was like, yo, Tony, is there anything coming out on this press? Because every time I buy a piece of equipment, something new comes out right after. He's like, no, we don't do that. Of course, I buy a Sportsman, and like 2 months later, I see now they all have LEDs underneath the arms. And I'm like, come on, man, that would be like such an amazing feature to have. And then the same thing happened with my flash. I got the Chili D, and I was like, this is it, right? There's nothing changing on this. And I think it was just shortly after I'd bought it, I think it was you that posted a video and it had a digital screen. And I was like a touch, and I was like, the fuck is that? I called Tony up and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I showed him the video and he's like, oh man, I didn't know about you asshole, man. It sucks when that happens. And that's what would always happen with like Ryan and stuff is I'd get so bummed on. It's like they were constantly changing their presses, which it's a good press. I mean, I know a lot of people that love those rocks, and I was kind of on the fence of which way I was going to go with the single pin, like flood bar and squeegee seemed to be the thing that people really loved the most on that. And I just ended up landing on the M&R because I like US based stuff. I like being able to see clean across the top of the machine. But it was just those features that pop up all the time on the Jeez,
Dylan muted that call, and I know he called.
I know he did.
He called Tanner, and he was like, he was too embarrassed. Like he wasn't confident enough to call him live and say, "Hey, are you bullshitting me?" Or is there? So he called him, and now he's gonna come back on. He's gonna say, "Yeah, totally. There's a towel mode."
Yeah,
we didn't get confirmation for that. We have to go by whatever you just said.
So hey,
I can call Tanner.
It's fucking it's 6:30 on a Sunday, and I just called Tanner. And you guys were talking, so I didn't want to interrupt. Right? But he said, I said, hey, I told him the whole scenario. I said, hey, I was told by Oni when he was here that there was a towel mode. And he was like, towel mode? That doesn't sound right. And I was like, God damn it. And he's like, and I was like, dude, I swear to God, he told me there was a towel mode. He's like, hold on, I'm going to make a call. I'll call you back. So if he calls me back, good or bad, I'm going to let you guys hear it. But it's probably bad. And
it's probably bad.
I'm an asshole.
It's probably bad.
Yeah, I'm going to go with bad.
Right.
But yeah,
that's those towels actually.
That really sucks when, like you were saying, when you sign and say, yeah, I'm going to buy this equipment. And usually it's 6 weeks before or at least before it ever ships. And then within those 6 weeks or whatever, they update it and there's something better, and so you get
Just
you get like last year's model or whatever it is.
You're cleaning out the floor is all you're doing for the new one.
That's what they did with me with the Gauntlet. Like, yeah, I'm happy that I got it, and it's very, very similar to the Cobra, but there's a couple features that you have that I don't have.
Does the Gauntlet
lots
go
of
up
features.
and down?
I'm just saying that,
It's
like
a flat indexer, just like the Cobra, but you have a lot of features that I don't have. In fact, the Gauntlet
I know.
is an upgrade.
No, I know, but I'm saying like the whole like upgraded micro system and the air lock to like lift the head up. Like, I don't have that, and I bought mine like fucking right before you bought yours. Right. So it's like you got the nicer new little features that I don't have. I mean, they're small features, but
have either of you guys ever gotten injured by your press?
Yeah, well, kind of
minorly, but yeah.
I feel like everybody's been hip checked.
Yeah, I got my arm caught under it when I first got it.
I almost had my hand crushed like a couple of years ago, but luckily they stopped it before it did. Like they called me out because something was happening on like head one or whatever. Like, I don't know what it was. And I like put my hand on the pallet because I was like looking over, but they didn't bother to tell me that the press was like spinning still. And I had my hand on the pallet and it was like just about to go under the screen to like, it would have crushed my hand on the screen.
Mine did go under.
Yeah. And I was just like, I immediately like pulled out like right before it got crushed. And I was like, well, that would have.
So yours went under and it raised up?
Yeah, mine went under. I was doing the whole thing where I was between 7 and 8. And I was like, I don't know what I was doing, but somehow my hand came down, it indexed, and it just took my hand just like that and like went up under. And I just tacked all the pallets. So my hand just went up under and it just went up under the screen and you could just see my whole hand in the mesh. And I was just like sitting there. I was the only one there. I was by myself and I'm just like, stop. And I'm like hitting like reset. And it just like wouldn't drop. And I think I don't remember if it was that or the cable. I forgot that like one of the things you do, whether it's break the cable, hit reset, something just drops it, disengages it. And I was so like freaked out, nothing was working, that I just sat there unscrewing every contact point of the screen holders and unscrewing until I got it loose, and then just like drove the screen over it, and it just tore all the skin on my arm so bad. But I'm lucky that's all that happened. But sure, I remember the point where I found out, I was just like, oh yeah, if you just like break the cable cable. Yeah, it disengages. And
that bright yellow thing that hangs there that's called safety cable
that you're reaching around to like undo everything.
Right.
The first day or the first hour, I should say, like that we have a new hire and it's a press assistant, whoever it is. That's the very first thing is that I ever show somebody on the press is e-stop. I'm like, okay, you see this red button? Yeah, this is how we stop the press in an emergency, and I'll even make them do it. Like here, you've got to hit it. So like they get that, they go and they hit it, so they know what it feels like. So hit that e-stop, and then the second thing we do is one rule is you never go into the press without breaking the cable, but I also make them break the cable. And so the first two things they know are e-stop. You got to push that button, and then break the cable, and both those things will stop the press. But it doesn't help when like you're getting all cocky and you're doing something and you already know both of those things.
You're like, I don't need it.
You're like, whatever. And then you go do it. And then you're kind of, like you said, you were alone. I mean, think of that. You could have gotten stuck. I mean, that could have been really bad,
Yeah.
That's awful.
If they would gone another step.
Yeah. Like that's we wouldn't be talking to you today. We'd be like, "Who's Gabe?"
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it is for every press, but I remember when on the G3 I was talking to Cameron about it, and he was talking to me about the e-stop, because obviously everybody's always used the e-stop. Like if they're about to accidentally pallet print or they loaded a shirt wrong or whatever, the first thing they do is like hit the red button or whatever. Well, he told me, he's like, on the G3, like don't hit it unless you absolutely have to hit it, because. Why? Because of it's like belt driven or whatever. I don't know all the details about like the center section or whatever, but because of how big that press is and how much energy it takes to like move the pallets, he's like, if it's in the middle of indexing and you hit that red button, like it can break shit. It'll like bust teeth because it wants to immediately stop. for your safety. But there's just to stop that thing in the middle of indexing like that fast, so it doesn't like crush your body, will like break shit. Not that it's going to break stuff every time, but he's like, just so you know, like if you go to hit that and it's in the middle of indexing, because that's what I said. My guys have always on the Sportsman just been like, oh, I accidentally loaded a shirt wrong, fucking hit the red button, and it's like,
oh, it's a worse. And then you get off procs.
right. It's like, don't do that if you don't have to. Like if you're going to accidentally ruin a shirt. Don't fucking slam the button and stop the press and break parts of it.
Like 9 out of 10 times you e-stop and everything's fine. You just reset and go.
Holy shit. He said it does have the towel mode.
Nope.
What is it?
Dude.
Did he say what it is?
He said you learn something new every day. You know who we learned it from? This fucking guy.
What does it do?
Guys are always
what does it even do?
New.
Dude, hold on. I'm going to send this to Chad so he can put it in. He said, hold on. He sent me a screenshot. Towel mode. It's actually called fucking towel mode.
And he's just gone to the press.
Yeah, I gotta. Where is it?
It's in the options. It's in the options. And that the literally the button. I can't show it to you. Hold on. I don't know if I can. It's not going to focus. It's not going to focus.
Back it up.
Back
right
up
here,
a little. Okay.
It's not going to focus.
Yeah, it's not.
This one is towel mode.
Okay,
anyway,
so what does it do?
It says, hold on. Let's see what it says.
Eat lightning.
I don't know if it tells me. It says it's just called towel mode, and it's got a squeegee. It does exactly what I said. It prints one way, and then it gets up and then grabs the ink and then prints back the other way, so that you get both sides of the fiber.
I don't understand how that would work. That's crazy.
Yeah. Hey,
What do you think? That's horrible because
guys.
No, it's not going to work, Dylan. It doesn't do that.
Dude, it's fucking called towel mode. It's a button on the press.
That's crazy. I would like to just see it in action.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't.
It's flooding its own ink with the squeegee, essentially, and then printing it again.
I don't know. Honestly, I've never used it. I just knew that he mentioned it, and I wanted to ask you because I thought you printed towels.
Yeah.
But I was right all along, as usual.
Well, maybe you're right. I mean, I'm not. Maybe there is a towel mode, but it prints both ways. I don't. Yeah, I don't think it prints both ways. Because you flood. Like, why? That defeats the purpose of flooding a screen. You know, like it just doesn't even make sense.
It's just for towels, though. You would maybe feature. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but maybe you don't use. Maybe you don't use a flood bar. Maybe you just put a squeegee in the flood bar spot and a squeegee in the other one.
Maybe
and
it's
then it
just
prints this way and then prints this way. That would work. Why wouldn't that work?
I'm excited to see one of you guys.
Yeah, you need to get on it. You need to get on and demo this on Monday, tomorrow. Like print a fucking towel for us, and then
you got time, right?
All right.
I'm just gonna bring one of my fucking bath towels in. Print on it.
So you added embroidery. Holy shit! Like, what made you do that?
Dude,
that's a big move.
I have no idea. It was the worst time in the world to do it, but man, I love that thing. Like I always kind of live by the if whatever you want to afford, spend a little more and get the next best thing. And I was dead set on either getting a Tajima or a Beradan whenever we could afford an embroidery machine, which we source so much. That's how I ended up getting the auto too. It's like we hit a point where I was outsourcing so many, like 25,000 piece orders, like 10,000 piece orders. And I was like, this is crazy. Like we could have an auto and do this in house. And it was the same thing with embroidery. We just ended up doing so much sourcing on embroidery, and it's hard when you don't have full control in house to kind of be like, okay, we can just shoot this off to the client real quick if they want to make a change, or, maybe we don't like this quite enough or as much as we'd want to, and, shoot it back off the digitizing. And I just bit the bullet and did it. And we got a 6 head. Kind of wish I had gotten an 8 head, but the 6 is perfect for us. We're using it like crazy. Like both my employees love the machine.
What makes you say you wanted to get an 8 head?
It's just like one of every time we get a new piece of equipment, I feel like we get this crazy job that we could have just had a little bit more press or machine. And we had a blanket job. It was the first job we got, and it was a 30,000 stitch job. It's only 100 pieces, but 30,000 stitches, that's 40 minutes on the machine. So it would have been nice to have two more. Now I'm seeing the benefits of why people have two machines, which do you have two machines, Andy?
Yeah. So we have three, but it's a
Three?
forehead and then two singles. And so, the reason our reasoning behind that is we can run different jobs. We have a lot of smaller runs, which is great with the single heads or monogramming or whatever. And then the forehead, at the time when I got the forehead, that's all I could fit in here anyway. Like I didn't even have a choice of getting a 6 head, but we got a 4. And I've heard that over a 6, and it depends, of course, on who's operating them. But I've heard that and our stitch counts are lower. Like they're definitely not 30,000, like you just talked about. It's just a faster run. Normally, most it's under 10 minutes. And so, by the time you hoop everything else, if you have an 8 head, for example, you're running eight of these, right? 8 pieces, and then you've got to hoop up 8. Then you don't even have time to hoop up 8. And so it defeats the purpose.
That's good to hear. Yeah. Because we are doing a lot of beanies and stuff that are like, 8,000, 10,000 stitches, whatnot, and dad hats. We've got like a 740 piece dad hat job to do this week. And it's like, they're like 6,000, 7,000 stitches. So that's a good point. Fast.
Unless you have multiple, like it depends on how many people you have working in that department. So then it changes, of course, but
yeah.
That's cool. Like to bring it in like that, it's a big move, it was a huge move. And we're really lucky here in this space. We've got, a neighbor of ours has a forklift, and he just, here's the keys, use it whenever you want. He just leaves the keys in it. So that was easy. We were able to just bust that thing in and just basically plug it into the wall and go. But could you have fit that at your in Brooklyn? Could you have fit it?
No way, man. We were doing we were maxed out. So we were working with so one of the things that I actually wanted to mention is that the thing that's exciting about the city, and I loved about the city printing, is there's a lot of printers in the city, and we can all utilize each other. So, people would come to me and be like, hey, do you want to do these art prints or something? And I would just recommend somebody else. Like, no, this guy's really good at it. This girl's really good at it. And it was just enough for everybody. When we were doing some work for some other printers that would, we had the auto, so we could kind of take that on. We were at a point where we were getting 20,000 pieces from another person, and just like we were staging them in the hallway, and our landlord was starting to get pissed. We had just pallets on pallets and pallets. And I had always wanted to get embroidery. We had been asked by Calvin Klein. They asked us to do some live events with embroidery. So I'd been looking at single head machines for years, and they're crazy expensive for a single head. They can be like 15 grand. And this was kind of the opportunity where we had made this move. We had lowered the overhead, and we were sourcing so much embroidery. And I was just like, this is it. Let's bring it in. And it was probably one of the highlights so far of having the business, man. It's just something I've wanted to do for so long. And I think those guys on the floor really enjoy it. It's like they can just, if it's a long stitch job, they can set it up, pop a button, walk away, go print some stuff. Like it's
so you're saying, a fun addition. You're saying your screen printers also run the embroidery. So it's not, you don't have a special person. Like there's no full-time embroidery role quite yet.
No. Yeah, I mean, we're at a kind of always been kind of at a comfortable level where I kind of handle everything on the client end, and separations, depending how crazy it is, like crazy simulated stuff, I send it out. We print everything off still through a wide format, and that's probably our next ditch piece of equipment and moving over to CTS. But we print everything off. Then they take it from there. And they do everything, and then they're awesome at it. Like they love the embroidery machine. I mean, Victoria just crushes it on the press and on the floor. She's just like super chill, down to earth. And we just kind of go over some stuff, go over Trello and what we have on the board, and she just kills it. And then Scott, who just came on, these guys both came up from the city with us, and they're just to do it.
How did
Just
you
get it
have that
done. And
conversation? You're like, hey guys, we're thinking of moving and we want you to move too. And
that
they
was
were
tough.
down.
So we had just in 2019, I just had a guy who moved up, relocated from Birmingham, Alabama, and he came on full time. And then shortly after, I don't know, 4 months or so, a friend of a freelancer that was working with me that lived upstate was moving down to the city, and she was looking for a screen printing job. I'm just like, yeah, come in, let's make this team. And she came in, and we were just doing it. Everything was going really well. And, you know, when COVID, it was so strange because, you know, in February, we have a TV that we keep Trello on and everything, but in the morning, like we got the news on it or whatever to just kind of see what's going on. And we're kind of keeping tabs on COVID and watching it kind of move across seas. And it was just getting worse and worse. And then like one day it was just kind of like, a text message like, hey guys, guess we're stuck home. See you whenever. And honestly, I don't even know if I ever even saw the guy who was working with us from Alabama, because again, he moved back. And when we were able to go back in and kind of start picking up on some jobs, Victoria came back through, and I was just kind of like, hey, so we're thinking about relocating upstate. And she had just moved down from upstate, and she was like, me and my boyfriend were talking about that as well. And I'm just like, all right, well, if you're down, let's do this. If you want to, if you want to do this. And then shortly after, when we got up here, another guy that was doing freelance work with us, he was like, hey man, I'm moving up to my parents and we're trying to, move upstate as well. What do you got going on? And we kind of brought him in, and he's been moving up and kind of getting to know things on the floor. And he's really taken to the embroidery machine. I think he's really loving that aspect of the business. And, it's one of those things where you just like you said, Dylan, it's just, you want to have your core team that you really treat well and kind of keep on par with where you're at and where you're trying to go. And these are the kind of people that I really hope can hang in there and just go forward with us, because next it's going to be having to hire local people, which I know nothing about.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any like most inspiring job you've done, like your favorite job that you've done so far?
I mean, the Billie Eilish one was definitely kind of a highlight, just because she was so huge. To see her wearing a shirt that we printed was pretty awesome. And that was a tricky one, because you get a lot of these customers, the clients we work with, they're always trying to outdo whatever there is. I mean, we were starting to get asked to do, thank God, before COVID, to do this like metallic ink that like it's conductive, you can touch it or whatever. And it like some artist in like the UK or something did it on a pizza box, and you can actually DJ with it over on a Bluetooth speaker. I can't remember what it's called, but no, the Billie Eilish one, they reached out and they had researched, they'd gone on Google and been like, we want a really heavy print. Like they wanted to stand off the shirt. And of course they come across Mad Specials Instagram. Rich, are you guys familiar with Mad Specials?
Yep.
And I'm just like, dude, that is a thing. That is a thing this guy has mastered. Like, I have known nothing about HD printing, about like getting those chopped edges where it's just standing up off the garment. And that's really what they wanted. And I was like, the best we can do is we'll run it through like an 80 mesh screen and just keep printing it. And they also wanted it glossy. So then we had to just hit a gloss layer on top of it. And we didn't even get it that thick, but it was funny because that particular shirt, they didn't know what color she'd want to wear, what size she'd want to wear. So we probably printed 50 shirts just for that one performance. So, and then she just picked like a 2XL baby blue or something. So
you printed shirts just for her to wear?
Yeah, those are just for her performance.
Oh, it wasn't merch. It was actually just for her wardrobe,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that was for her Instagram Live with Calvin Klein. Yeah. So stuff like that. I mean, working within those events is always fun. I hope we can still have that going forward with this new landscape of however things are going to play out.
One day.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of like holding on, treading water right now.
2026-ish, maybe 2027. So shop hacks, you got any for us?
I mean, the only thing I really have is if we're doing like a wet on wet print, I don't know if somebody told me this or if where I picked this up. I think somebody told it to me, but we spray the bottom of our screens with silicone spray.
Mm-hmm.
Might have even been you, Andy. I don't know. I feel like I was talking to somebody about this.
We have the exact same brand and everything.
Yeah, Sprayway is the jam. They're glass cleaner, everything. I know I got them, and I've been trying to think of them all week. But I think one of the things that it's not necessarily a hack, but it's like a simple thing to know about on press that's hard to explain to people is, and I don't know if this is specific to M&R, maybe just my press, but the wiggle room of the pallets and like pushing them over to one side before you lock them. Do you guys have that where when you load it on, there's like a play in there, and if it's off on one, it's like just destroys it. But like we were just doing some strips the other day, and I don't know how those went. They looked pretty good when I saw them, but just as an example, if the pallet were to be off on something like that, the line you're going by is now off. So your print's going to be crooked. But it's a hard thing to explain to people. And
I know what you're saying, but have you tried just tightening like the yellow knobs?
That's what I was going to say. Is I think they may be a little too loose. They do work themselves loose over time. And so, do you remember can you remember when you first got your press? And in fact, maybe when you moved, did you take your press apart and then put it back together? Or did you have somebody reset it when you?
Yeah. So I took it apart and I put it back together, and then I had M&R came back in for about 3 hours, set it back up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. But
that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, it was definitely worth every penny. But it's not necessarily like moving when they're locked. It's like when you load the pallet on, there's an 1/8 inch of play there. And if you set your laser to your center line and then it gets to the head that you didn't push it to the right side or the other, it can be like an 1/8 inch off. And I don't know if it's just like a couple of our arms or what. I've tried to explain it through a text so many times, and it's just such a difficult thing to explain without having it happen.
So I think that, and you're saying for registration purposes, that's your main issue.
And printing in the exact same spot. So like we actually print a lot of weird stuff. Like, the other day we printed just polyester strips for a friend back in the city who sews laundry bags. And you have to lay those directly on this line you've created on the pallet. But if you do it on a pallet that's off an 1/8 inch, now it's not in the right spot.
Mm-hmm. I think I get what you're saying, because I feel like there is a little bit of play when you're loading them just for like ease of putting them on. But I think once you actually turn the knobs, it kind of like centers it, because the knobs obviously have like the tension. Like the thing is, if you're doing, say you're tightening the knobs and like you tighten the top ones and they only go to here, like halfway, and then you tighten the bottom ones and they're a little bit loose. I feel like they should all snugly go all the way down, but they shouldn't be like super tight and they shouldn't be super loose. Like you should just have like a good even pressure on all four, and then it'll probably make your pallet like right in the middle.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that there's a little bit of play in ours too, but I've never really worried about it because we don't have to be that precise. Like you just said, you're printing this piece of material that if you are off a little bit. For t-shirts, it seems like it's so minimal that it never really affects it.
Right.
I feel like even then I would just check the yellow knobs and make sure they're not too loose or too tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's gotta be
It's what I gotta find is a sleeve hack, man. The sleeves are a nightmare.
Dude, we probably did over the past couple of years a bunch of tests, and we actually got really close with Action Engineering on stuff, and they were having us like beta different sleeve pallets and stuff like that. And we landed on their, I can't even remember what it was called, like Easy Sleeve, dual sleeve pallet or whatever.
Yeah.
We love those things. Like I would never go back.
You have them on every pallet.
We bought 10 of them for the Sportsman.
Yeah.
It was honestly there with shipping and getting them here and everything. I think for all 10, it was like $3,800, maybe $4,000 or whatever. But like, well worth it because
print both sleeves at the same time.
You print both sleeves. We've done it. We've done both. Where like if you have a job that's like say 500 sleeve prints, but it's only one sleeve, you just load both sleeves and you're doing 2 at a time. Or like we did last week, there's a job that has both sleeves on it print wise, but it's 2 different designs on each sleeve. You just load from the cuff and then you can do both sleeves at the same time.
You can load from the cuff.
You can load from the cuff or from the neck.
Wow.
Are you able to load within the like 20-second dwell, or do you have to like stop it and start? Yeah,
we don't have to. 20 seconds is a lot.
He's talking about a single press operator maybe or something.
Oh, well, even then, like we bought for the Sportsman, we did this a while ago. We bought a foot pedal. So you can.
Yeah, we got a foot pedal too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just use the foot pedal mode when we're doing weird stuff like pockets or sleeves or something. So once he gets them both loaded, hit the foot pedal, swings.
That's smart. Ours is sitting on a shelf. I should grab it out because that's actually really good.
Ours did for years.
Yeah. Well, we've always wanted to use it for like certain items, like even with hoodies that we're wanting to make sure we didn't hit the seam. So we'll use the laser obviously to like get it where we want it. But when they're loading, the printer's always thinking about, oh, I got like fucking 10 seconds to get this on and get it right. Like if you just give them the foot pedal for jobs that you need a laser or like takes a little extra time, like it's
Dylan?
only spinning when they want it to.
Dylan, that's a great hack.
Hey, it's not really a hack, but
well, it kind of is because I put that fucking thing on a shelf. I'm like, why would I ever use this foot pedal? Like that's why I got an automatic so we can go fast. And here I'm going to step on something every time.
Well, it's just like, you know how you go down, up or whatever on the right switch. You just put it in the middle and just hit the foot switch.
Always got the good ones. So, okay.
But then it goes,
well, hold on with the sleeve pallets. The reason why some people kind of naysay the dual sleeve pallets when with other ones is Action made them actually like really thick. So you wouldn't have as much deflection. But you still kind of have some, depending on your press or like you said, like with your yellow knobs or whatever you're putting it on, you might have a little bit of an angle, down angle. So they actually make these like little U hangers that go under each one of the pallets on the end, and it pulls makes sure that you have a nice flat surface and you're not getting any deflection. It kind of pulls it up. So like I said, we've been using them. We only use water-based adhesive on them, no spray, and it's been night and day difference. Because before that, we were stretching stuff or we were having registration issues because they were so stretched. And now we've done thousands and thousands of sleeves since we got them, and they've been great. So.
I've tried to phase out spray adhesives for like
we do too, but we only use it for hoodies, and I know
sweatshirts.
Right. We've gone over this with a ton of different people on how they just every 2 spins they scrub all the pallets or they do something different, and it's just like I've tried that, and I feel like we still get stuff where it's not sticky enough on like we might ruin like 1 or 2 hoodies in order because it wasn't sticky enough.
Right.
And
that's actually a hack that's actually a hack that my lead employee right now, Victoria, taught me. Like I had never seen anybody. I'd be printing for water-based since I've had this Enviro line from Ryanet's old logo.
Jeez.
I've had this since 2007, I think.
How is that still good?
I don't think it is. I just hang on to it as a reminder.
Oh, all right. I thought you were like, use this stuff. It's really good. 35 years old.
Use it on customers' shirts. But like she taught me, I had never seen that before. And I've been using the water-based adhesive for a while. And one day I saw her down there with Simple Green spraying and a scrubber. And I'm just like, what are you doing? She's like, you never seen this? She's like, it brings it back. I was like, how? It's a cleaner. And I touched it and I was like, what the fuck how did that happen?
Just use water.
She uses Simple Green. It's incredible. It's amazing.
But I'm just saying, you just put water on it and it comes right back.
Yeah. That's what I used to just like wet it a little bit. I have these like spray bottles that my barber had where they're like, you just squeeze it. It's like continuous mist. Mm-hmm. We use those for like spraying the screens as well to keep them wet.
No, what we use, which is super, super high tech, is it's an old Dr. Pepper bottle. And we poked a hole in the top of it. And then we just squeeze it.
Oh wait, to what? To
put water on the pallets.
Water for your okay, yeah. That's what we use. Well, we use the ketchup bottles for our adhesive. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure our water-based glue bottle is an old like Sobe drink bottle that somebody's just used for like, it's just been used for like 8 years.
For the longest time, when we have in our break room, when the condiment's out, we would use whatever bottle, like mustard, it didn't matter. We have really pro bottles now that are clear and labeled that we got at Walmart. But
I actually recently bought new glue bottles, so we don't have the Sobe one anymore, but we still have the Dr. Pepper bottle that I'm pretty sure we've had for like 9 years for water.
Gabe, do you have any questions for us?
I mean, I think it was just mainly like your shop efficiencies. That's always like good to hear. I mean, I know you guys talk about them a lot. We talked about them earlier. But I mean, you guys, how are you doing so far this year? How are you ready to keep going hard or what?
Well, we're 10 days in.
Our shop, and we didn't work the first
week.
First week,
yeah. So first 5 days.
We've had a full week back. So we had last week. It came. I would say by noon it was stress level normal. So it came back pretty fast, and we were printing a bunch of shirts, and then all of a sudden, like that wave that we had that kind of built up because we had taken that week off, started to kind of fall off and get slow. And so Friday was more like just a half day. And same for tomorrow, as far as production goes, printing, same for tomorrow is about a half day, but then it's on. Like we've got lots of orders, lots of shirts for coming up. It's kind of just came in a little bit of a wave, I think. That's January. It seems like that's what happens every year, is that it's just not solid enough quite yet. Although last January 2020 we set a record, but I just don't know if that's going to be the same thing right now. I'm just grateful for any order we get. At this point, like when we get orders, and I'm just like, well, this is great, we're keeping the presses spinning, and so it feels good. So January is a weird month, it's just we're just trying to get ready, we're getting ready for when it gets busy again, and I've got to hire.
Problem is we don't know what we're getting ready for, because we don't know if it's going to be the same as it's ever been.
Yeah, we did.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I've been talking about a lot lately, is just kind of, how, like, what are we doing? Like, we're so used to, like I said before, getting those emails of just like, this is what we need. This is when we need it. Here's the money. Boom. We can plan it. We're planning the next one. And now it's more like I'm doing 2-month-long email conversations for a 30 shirt job. And it's just kind of like, it's so new to me. And I am appreciative for it, and I love it, and we'll take any job we can get, but it's totally new for us. I mean, I kind of picked us into this niche that now I got to kind of get us out of. And it's interesting because I've never really done any marketing and stuff. So,
yeah, well, it's like our December was the biggest December we've ever had. Like normally for us with our niche markets, it's like they're really busy in the spring and summer. And then usually in a normal year that we've ever, before COVID stuff, it was like right after Thanksgiving, it would start to decline, like it would start to slow down. And then like the week after Christmas, it was basically like from then till the end of February was like, we would do enough jobs to like pay payroll, keep the lights on, and like just stay active. Mm-hmm. Like there'd be weeks where we were just like, all right, let's just work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday, let's just take off. And then we'll see you again next week. Like that's how it usually is. And like those 2 months, it's just like slower because we don't do schools. We don't do stuff where everybody's kind of like ramping up in that time of the year. But like this December was fucking balls to the wall. Like every week we were working late. We were trying to keep up. And then I also had Randy gone in Hawaii, fucking sitting on the beach playing with turtles for a month. And the funny thing is I had Randy and then Nate decided he didn't want to work here anymore 2 days before Christmas. And Randy got back, like we took that week off between Christmas and New Year's, and he came back this Monday. And this week was awesome. Like having him back, it was just like everybody was in a good mood. We all flowed. We did every day this week, totally fine. And we're booked up right now. We played video games.
Watched
we fucked
YouTube.
Around. Lots of YouTube.
printed like 2 or 3 shirts. So
lots and lots of Fail Army.
I'm looking forward to, like, I always look forward to January because we go so strong, towards in that fourth quarter, that it's really nice to. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with coming in and being, exactly like we always are in January. It's just not having to go pedal to the metal the entire fucking month long. And so I look forward to that. I want to go home like at 5, right now. I don't want to just be stuck here like I know is coming or which usually is coming. And so anyway, I'm not, at the same time, knowing that and wanting to be not as busy, I also stress a little more about bills because I'm like, well, we didn't make shit today, and so that kind of sucks, but I don't know. That's just kind of how, I guess kind of how it is. And so I've gotten used to not worrying about, oh, we didn't make shit today, and more looking at it as not just even a month, but like the whole year. That's just sort of how it goes. And so otherwise I'm just going to sit there and stress out, I think, way too much. But hey, I fucked up. And so I didn't hit record until about 10 minutes in. And I didn't want to tell you guys, I didn't want to like disrupt this whole flow. And so I got it like on your Dylan, don't shake your head. Don't shake your head. I haven't done it ever.
You son of a bitch.
I haven't ever done it, but I did it. Because we did our checks. We were like, okay, mic check.
Did you not record us talking for the first 15 minutes either before he even came on?
No, I didn't. But
pre-game.
Yeah. So here, there's going to be a post game. Okay. So we're going to post game it. And also, this is all my fault. I take full responsibility. We're going to welcome you like, hey, Gabe, hey, what's up? Like, welcome to the church show. And then we're also going to say goodbye. And then he's going to fix it. He's going to fix it.
You're going to cut it up.
And if he doesn't fix it, like, just put this in there. Just put this at the beginning. And then everybody will maybe forgive me. I don't know.
Hey, Gabe, it's great to see you, man. Didn't just talk to you for 2 hours.
Right. See, that works. That was perfect. That was actually a better greeting than you did the first time.
Yeah, and I had a dream about you last night where we went to Texas.
I'm pretty sure that was recorded. No, I hit record like, I don't know. We were about 10 minutes in. So we were just talking about like you and maybe moving the city. But the thing is like you talked about.
Oh, so we just cut out all the boring stuff about how Gabe was talking about how he got started in printing anyway, right?
That's in there. No, that's in there.
Oh, that's bullshit.
We've been on talking for 2 hours. And so I'm just talking about the 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
It's just interesting because, I've gone to ISS Atlantic City. I've still never met Dylan. Andy, I was looking forward to meeting you, Jonathan, all kinds of people out at ISS Long Beach in 2021. But it's just like now everything's so virtual, and I guess it's just that it's everything now. So it's like meeting people. It's like meeting for the first time through a computer screen is just so interesting.
Well, we've been talking for a really long time on like Instagram. So.
Yeah, it's just nice to like get to know people for a moment.
Yeah. It is, instead of just messaging each other. And I remember, I want to say it was you that when you had your press install happening, you got it delivered, like you accepted delivery of it, and then you were trying to get air to it. And I remember getting a message like, "Hey, how fucking big is like the fitting? Like, I think you were at Home Depot or something like that, and you're trying to buy some air pipe. I don't know. I was pretty sure that was you.
But dude, everything in the city is so fucking hard. Like going to Home Depot, everything, people just throw shit everywhere. Nobody wants to help you. You ask a question to somebody that works there, they look at you, turn around and walk away. So it's like, it's every man for themselves. And it probably was me. I was probably freaking out on Instagram, like who's on Instagram? Who's got a green dot right now? But there's just so much shit that you don't get. Yeah. I mean, same with the embroidery machine. I was like, oh man, electric, what do we need? And the guy's like, no, you just plug it into the wall.
That's nice about embroidery. It is just runs normal. Yeah. Standard. Yeah. Standard power.
Yeah.
All right. So man. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. I'm sorry I screwed that up. And so I don't know, like
Dude, when you said that you didn't record, my heart sank because I thought you were going to say, I just hit record. I was just like,
I kind of thought you were going to say 15 minutes ago. I was like, oh.
No, right. It was like,
because I've like super liked this episode. Like this has like been a good one.
It's been a good one.
And I was like, for you to not record it, I would have been like, I would have flew to St. Louis just to punch you in the balls.
Man, is St. Louis a dangerous place? Because I met one guy in Brooklyn from St. Louis, and I was like, I know nothing about St. Louis. Tell me about it. And he's like, man, I got beat up a lot.
I went out there. I flew out there to hang out with Andy, and I feared for my life the entire time I was there.
Dylan got beat up a lot too. Yeah, super dangerous.
Yeah. What's give me a good quote you guys live by.
Oh, Andy's got tons of those. I have zero.
I know he does.
Yeah, I always go by buy high, sell low. I mean, that's the way. That's my motto.
Oh, that's a good one.
For whatever reason, it never works out. But I'm sticking with it. Dylan, you got one?
Nice.
I don't have any quotes. I don't have a memory for quotes. It's the same thing. Like my dad and my uncle and all those people have like a lifetime worth of like dirty jokes that they can rattle off at any time. I don't remember a single one of them. I'm just like, I always laugh at the time, like, I'll remember that. And then the next day, I don't remember what it was.
Ooh.
So the best, my dad always would hire my friends, like in high school growing up working. And like one of the funniest things I ever heard him say to a friend who's now a lawyer for, I don't even know, like the attorney general in Maine or something like that. But he told him nobody ever learned anything from reading a goddamn book.
That's the quote for our book club.
Yeah. Perfect.
But my best quote is actually from my dad, and I live by it daily. It's like he treated, carpentry. He would always say, everything is finished work. So like you frame your house the way you treat your finished work when you're finishing the house. And I kind of do that throughout the shop, like all the way from design to prints, like everything, just treat it with care, like to packing the box, like make sure your box is closed right and taped nicely. Like this is the first thing people see when they receive their package, and it looks like shit. If your box looks like shit, it was mistreated.
I mean, that had just happened to me last week. A customer was picking up and she had 5 boxes or whatever. And the one box that I decided to open, we always show a shirt. And I was like, hey, check this one out. I opened it up and there was this single shirt up on top for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. And it was wrinkled, the worst wrinkle you'd ever seen. I was like, oh my God, I just showed us so I said, hey, wait. Because she said, oh, that looks great. I'm like, well, hold on, wait. And I took it back and I was like, is there a heat press on? Is there anything? It was early in the morning. Nothing was on and yet, except for, so not even the dryer was still heating up. And so I put it on a pallet and then put it under a flash and flashed the shit out of it and then brought it over. I was going to roll it, but I was like, I don't know. So I started just with my hand, like smoothing it out, and it worked. It looked great.
Best part is you in doing that, you over cured that ink and it's going to wash off when she takes it off.
I ruined the shirt, but hey, it was flat. It wasn't wrinkled.
I actually have a quote that I saved on my computer because I wanted to put it on a sign, which was from Finn from Adventure Time. And it says, everything small is just a smaller version of something big. And it was just like, it hit home with me just because it was like, I came kind of from like nothing. I didn't like have money and I didn't like have like a, family money to be like, I'm going to start this business. And I did all this other stuff. And I always, even to this day, I still feel like a small shop, but I feel like I'm constantly getting to the point where I'm trying to do something bigger. So I save that on my computer because I have like a folder that's like stuff to do. I guess this isn't really like a tip or anything, but like I constantly, if I find inspirational things like on Instagram, not like quotes and stuff, but like, oh, I really like the way they set that up, or I like the way this office looks or whatever. And it's something I might do in my own shop or whatever. I save it. And this is one of the things that like I had saved in there. So you said quote and I hurried up and looked for it.
I like that small business. I mean, I love small business. I can't imagine doing anything else. Like I never would want 100 or 200 or whatever people. I wouldn't want to work at a place that's 4. I wouldn't want to work at a place with 400 people, and I don't want to own a place with 400 people. I love small business and how it's, I don't know that. I guess it's just the vibe of a small business and the culture of a small business and everything. I just really love it. And so I like that quote. And my quote would be,
you said buy high, sell low.
That's a stupid quote. Don't do that.
You have to own that now.
My real quote is buy the ticket, take the ride. I put that one in my videos and things like that. I love it because I don't know. I'm always one to do something when, to enjoy when I do it and to do it. You know, I like the risk of it, and that's part of small business. That's the part of having a small business. Is just that, you know, it's a risk. Like it is right now. Like it's fucking risky. What's
buying an embroidery machine at a time like this is why not?
Yeah,
fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
Well, the same thing. Me and Andy, I don't want to get into a huge conversation about this, but me and Andy did the same thing when COVID started. We were both on the verge of buying stuff, or he'd already done it. He just, you know, revamped the shop and like extended. And I had literally not like signed the paperwork yet to like have the new presses delivered. Like I could have just been like, fuck it, it's on hold, or I cancel. And I just looked at it as like, I can either fold and just wait till this is over and be like, I guess I'll grow it again. Or I can just like take the risk, buy the equipment. And then when COVID's over and all these other shops went out of business, I'll be twice as strong as I was before, because now I have all that shit I wanted and it's already here and ready to go and I'm trained on it.
Right. Yeah, that's like Kenneth at DFW. You know, that guy invested in a digital squeegee and a press.
Oh,
I mean, that's a baller move, right? I mean, I think that
it's just like go all in or not at all. You know what I mean? Just,
I think that
do it.
Sink or swim.
I think when times are tough, you know, when twimes. I love how you point out whenever I have like,
dude, you do it so much.
Well, it's because I drink beer when I'm on this thing. I'll blame it on that.
You know, all these twimes, I figure out what I'm doing.
Whatever I was saying, it was important.
You totally forgot what you were going to say. Oh God.
Anyway, come on, Dylan. I was saying something. What was
I don't remember. You said twimes, and my mind went immediately to that.
DFW.
Oh yeah, DFW.
And yeah.
You're
anyway,
the DMV.
So I was saying how. Anyway, it's great having you on. Finally, get to talk, like you said, like face to face. It feels like you know, it feels pretty good instead of just messaging. You know, you never get. And with messages, it's just not the same. And so thanks for coming on and thanks for talking to us. Too bad
it's only going to be us that get to enjoy it, because none of it was recorded.
Yeah, we have like 10 minutes. What I meant to say is we only have 10 minutes, not that I left 10 minutes out.
This is going to be a really good, solid 10-minute episode.
There's this like weird thing with Instagram when you're chatting over that and you never really know who you're talking to. And, you know, for the longest time, you're always trying to figure out who it is. Who in the shop is this person you're talking to? It was the longest time I thought Andy had like a twin brother. It's just like, who's this guy? Is it you? Is it you?
It's Andy and Candy.
There is a guy here that people always think it's my brother, Brandon. They always like,
I have that too.
I think
Bill,
that's what it was, Brandon.
Bill, who used to work here, is like the same size human, same beard, same hat, same everything.
size human.
Yeah, and like, well, I'm a bigger dude, and like people always come in and think it's him. Like there'll be customers that come in and think it's me and they want to talk to me and they go right up to him, and it's only like that first second of conversation. They're like, "You're not Dylan."
Does he have no ass also, or does he have an ass?
I don't want to say that he doesn't, but you know, maybe. But I always wanted to like make him a shop shirt on the back that says "Not Dylan, this is Bill."
Not Dylan. I always feel weird when I like overhear somebody on the floor be like, "Oh no, it's my boss. He's upstairs," and I'm just like, "I'm not your boss. I'm just like, I'm just me. Like I'm Gabe. Don't."
That was really hard for me too. Like whenever we were out somewhere, or if we're at let's say we're at a function or a Christmas party or just somewhere delivering, and they say, "Oh, this is my boss." I was introduced like that, like, "Oh, this is my boss." I'm like, you know, I don't want. I feel the same way. Like I don't want to be introduced as the boss. Who likes the boss? Nobody usually likes the boss.
Boss sucks.
Or you're taking your crew out to do something fun, and they say something about, "Oh, I'm on a work thing," or "I'm here with my boss," and it's like,
yeah.
How about we're just hanging out and we went to do something? Like you're not only here because I'm paying you.
Is it because I'm old?
Yeah.
And the next time somebody says that and we're out, I'm just going to fire him right there on the spot.
Well, have fun walking home, asshole, and then leave him there.
Get this guy off the check.
Oh, you wanted me to be a boss? Here, you're fired.
Yeah. Shit. Well, so what are you guys having for dinner?
Oh shit, he's got the question.
Yep. I'm having some. I got at Target these chicken sausages.
I was waiting for you to say pizza crust.
Nope, not going there with the pizza crust. Although I did get that today too. But we're having sausages and then I don't know what, some kind of side, and I'm meal prepping.
Speaking of, did you ever fucking fire that grill up?
Nope. It's winter. It's winter. But I'm meal prepping. This is a big deal. I Googled and I found a meal to prep. I bought at Target. I got the meal prep like trays and lids and everything. And I'm meal prepping. We're meal prepping some kind of turkey stir fry thing with rice, so that we can just bring it here. Because I'm tired of bringing like frozen dinners here or whatever, because they're not really that good for you. And so we usually just
an interesting
microwave.
choice for a vegetarian.
part-time vegetarian.
I'm all about that. Yeah.
I made right before I came here. I prepared a meal in a crock pot, so I'm hoping by the time I get home, it's gonna be ready. So I love crock pot meals. Look at me, I'm a fucking thick guy. I just like thick slurry of beef stews and fucking roasts.
It's winter, man. It's
same
time for
good stuff.
Stews and soups. And
so I did chicken breast, potatoes, corn. And then you put like salt, pepper, basil, and like garlic powder and a little bit of water. And then, and a full stick of butter. And then it just like all cooks and melts together. And then you just have it's like chicken that basically falls apart with mashed potatoes and corn.
So I'm thinking, as you're saying that, it sounds really, really good. And it just inspired me to say we should probably start a cooking club. So let's see
how book club goes first.
No, we have a book club, and then we can have just a cooking club. So
let's just go right to the end and just start full circle knitting club.
Yeah.
Knitting circle.
It's just a 2-hour episode of us doing this. At the end, we'll see who has a full sweater.
You know who sews like that is Juan's friend. Now I can't remember her name, so I'm a piece of shit.
That's someone I was looking forward to meeting too.
Jessica. Juan. Yeah, Juan Squeegee Prince.
Squeegee Prince.
Yeah, she's a yarner.
We were at Long Beach early in 2020. And we were at our favorite place to go when we get there. And I don't even know if I want to say it out loud, because we told a ton of people the first year that we found this amazing breakfast place. And like the next year it was like full of print shops. And when we actually showed up to go to breakfast, like we couldn't even get a table because it was full of people we told to go there. But anyway, we actually got a table and we were sitting on the sidewalk, like in their like seated area or whatever. And fucking Juan comes walking down the sidewalk, sees us, pulls out his harmonica, fucking serenading us while we're eating breakfast. I was like, hell yeah, man. Good to see you.
So much better than Atlantic City, man. Like Atlantic City is just like
night and day. Yeah. Well, from being from New York, it's like when you go to Atlantic City, you're going there because it's easy, because it's like you could drive there super easy. But it's such a fucking depressing shithole.
Oh man, it's bad.
Like, not knocking on anybody that's from there, but when we go for ISS, it's like cold. It's rained every year. None of the boardwalks open except for the massage parlors, where there's this little lady in there looking at you going like this.
Yeah.
And like,
I won't repeat some of the things I got asked by a cab driver, Uber driver there one night.
I took a cab from our hotel to the show once, and he didn't want me to pay. He wanted me to get out at a gas station, get him 2 packs of Newports, and he would drive me the rest of the way.
Yeah, our guy was trying to bring us to some garage with prostitutes, and I was just like, dude, take me to the Showboat Hotel.
Me and Brian, the very first year we went to Atlantic City, got out of the hotel and we were going to walk because it's only a couple blocks to the convention center. As soon as we got out of our thing, there was a prostitute on the sidewalk. She's like, so what are you boys doing tonight? And the worst part about it was she was walking the same way we were. So she just she's like, so what are you guys doing in town? And we were like, oh, we're screen printers. We're here for a thing. And she's like, all right. And then she kept walking with us. And then like 2 minutes later, so what are you guys doing in town? It was like, we answered her like 3 times. And she was just like, it was awful. So that's Atlantic City's,
It's hard to want to go there again.
It is fun though.
There's one in Texas too, right? Is there?
Yep.
Fort Worth,
right.
That's what I think they should do. Is they should just do,
Andy?
They should just do that this year. They should just do Texas instead of Long Beach.
I mean, they could probably pull that off. It may even be what happens. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, what's the closest one to you out there?
I guess it would be, as far as ISS goes, it would be the Fort Worth, but I've never been to it. Like we only just went to Long Beach because that was the biggest. And I think, well, we were going to go to Atlantic City this in 2020, but it got canceled. But Dylan and I were going to meet up there.
Yeah.
Atlantic City is fun though. Like there's definitely fun stuff to do. Like you go to the show, but like the best part about it is the food. Like there's places we found over the years that like are like hole in the wall places to eat that we look forward to every year. Like there's this one place called Harry Tony's that, or no, not Harry Tony's, Tony Baloney's. And they make
Even better.
They make this taco pizza. Well, there is a Harry Tony's like here, like where I'm from, but out there's Tony Baloney's.
Tony Baloney.
And it's just like, I don't know if you've been, like if you've walked around Atlantic City a ton, but at the end of the boardwalk where like the Trump one is, where like it's all, I guess there was like a storm or hurricane or something that like ruined those casinos.
I think it was
Sandy. If you go past that, there's like housing developments that are kind of like crushed down. And then there's like open areas. Well, there's this little place at the end, Tony Baloney's, and you have to call them for this specific pizza. You have to call them 48 hours in advance and order it. And it's $80. And it's a full pizza, but every square inch of it is covered in like gourmet tacos. Like it's just like taco, like stood up tacos.
Casey from M&R was telling me about that actually.
Yeah, we probably told him about it. Yeah. And the best part is we drove from here. It's like 4-hour drive to get there, got in our hotel room, like unpacked, got out, walked to the place and literally walked in the front door. And they were like, oh, your pizza will be done in like 10 minutes. And it was just so funny because it was like a whole trip to get there. And as soon as we walked in, they knew who we were. And they were like, your pizza will be done in 10 minutes.
Did that prostitute like the pizza too?
Yeah. She ate the leftovers in our hotel room that night.
Cool.
Yeah, she did.
All right, man. Well, good talking to you.
Hey.
Yeah, you guys as well, man.
See you, dude.
Good
Enjoy your
meeting
night. Yeah.
All right, you as well.
Did he say what he was having for dinner, or is he getting off without saying?
I think he said boiled hot dogs.
Roasted salmon.
Same as boiled hot dogs.
You're making this, or did you? It was already roasted, and you're like.
No, my fiance she's incredible. She's Spanish Italian, like straight off the boat.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll be there in 3 hours. I'll see you.
All right, guys.
See you, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right.